When Tectone was arguing his innocence to have committed sexual assault and stalking under oath, when he was unable to lie, it ended like this, by the way. Instead of making thinly veiled threats at her on his Twitter or live streams, he tells his content creator friends to make them on his behalf. Because this comes from the fact that Metatron, who suddenly became this like fucking right winger, I think the people who watch him, they're like, you're beyond pair at this point, right? He admitted to it. Like, your brain, while people are basically going after him because he's dumb, right? But based on information we have available here, I believe Tectone's innocent. Do with it what you will. He got hit by a feminist radical DEI judge. So just right here, you know what kind of person Metatron is. And he's in the camp of protecting Tectone. Tectone's clearly innocent. If you think he's able, you've been brainwashed and need to touch grass. Insane. Which is why Nick wrote this. But this is from the court documents. This is the person who's going to act so aghast about Hassan's statement about Chibi, right? Look at that, he didn't. And we're requesting respectfully that the court deny a protective order. Anything else, Mrs. Locke? No, Your Honor. No, okay, thank you at all. Based on the testimony and the evidence that's been provided to the court does find that there is are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of sexual assault. The court makes the additional finding that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of stalking and will grant a 10-year protective order. It will expire at midnight, January 23rd, 2036, and will contain the terms and conditions that have been requested by the applicant. The attorney's fees in the amount of $15,000 will be awarded to the applicant. What I want to say to Mr. Robertson, which is Tectone, you are not allowed to have any contact with her in any manner whatsoever. That means no contact through phone calls, emails, mail, text messages, any kind of social media, any kind of communication with her through third parties. All that is prohibited. You can only communicate with her like through like her lawyer or some shit, right? Now, we go here real quick. Think before you sleep. What dating an OF girl is like. Now, think before you sleep is a complete fucking joke. But if you notice, when it talks about, let's say, Hassan and those guys, right? And Tectone, he has not talked about them very much. In fact, it's oddly suspicious that after the court case was decided, suddenly Think Before You Sleep is talking about this. Suddenly he's talking about, see how now it's like, oh, we're talking about Tectone. We're talking about Asmongold's destroying Midskip and it's beautiful. Like, you see, I put that completely wrong, that's my bad. But you see how Tectone just made my day. Also, okay, so after talking about Hassan Piker 5 months ago, I wonder who else was talking about Hassan Piker like that around that time period. 5 months ago, 2 months ago, 4 months ago. It's clear that there was some kind of push happening behind the scenes to where people like Tectone are suddenly being swept for it. And then suddenly, let's talk about Midskip now. It's almost as if instead of making thinly veiled threats at her on his Twitter or live streams, he tells his other content creator friends to do them on his behalf. Weird. He's also been telling his minions to watch the Think Before You Sleep video and apparently knew the video was in the works for a while, suggesting potential help in the making of that video. Really?
The reasons why we're going to be watching. And I know there might be some people thinking, oh my gosh, does Techless even want you to watch this? Yes, he asked me to watch this, so yes. He's told me this one has been in the works for a while. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're going to be watching. And
interesting. I just find that interesting. What I actually did want to watch, though, I did mention in my community is that I did want to see that Think Before You Sleep video. This one right here. I didn't watch it, by the way. It just,
or a Twitch streamer.
Oh boy, this is kind of lengthy. Well, I ain't got no plans tonight, so we gonna do this.
Tectone went to court today and he lost the court case against Pink Chu. Tectone with his 5 lawyers lost. She had 1. and she won. That's how bad it was. For the next 10 years, Tectone can't own guns and has to pay all of her
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
Accurately. In case you haven't heard, Twitch streamer Tectone and an ex-girlfriend of his who goes by Pinkchu have been in a legal battle after Pinkchu publicly accused Tectone of sexually assaulting her. Recently, Pinkchu filed for a protective order, which is to prevent stalking and harassment, and Tectone lost a motion to get it dismissed. Now, before we get into all this, let me just say that I'm not even remotely neutral on whose side I'm on. I started out neutral. I started out with the mindset of, let's take a look at the facts of the...
I guarantee this person did not start off neutral, looking in the facts. That's not even what he does. There's no neutrality here. There's like, what does he think about fat people? Using fat acceptance to sell junk food. What do you think about diversity? Diversity hires making everyone less safe. Like, what do you think about modern video games? Oh, Super Beaks making it worse because of women. Like, can we let's just to really build this out, how woke channels are radicalizing people. Let's just look at this video quickly, just real quick.
I'm Kim Belair, and I'm the co-founder of a little narrative development company.
For those of you not understanding my logic here, I'm trying to show the fact that he is not a kind of person who's objective, right? He has a very clear bias towards specific groups. Using Sweet Baby Inc., for example,
to highlight all the good customers who eat their vegetables and accept the DEI propaganda. How's that?
Accepting DEI propaganda. No one who speaks like this unironically is capable of being objective. He didn't come into this with an open mind. He came into this with this perspective, okay? Where he reads that Park Place.
Americans to disproportionately promote black people. And
like, let's just go this part. Okay, fuck it. This is here.
Race here, which is what they did. Cosmo Canyon is in the middle of nowhere. There should pretty much be only one race here, which plus-size black woman who Mexico.
Let's just start here.
Distracting is that you're going to financially bully companies into compliance by withholding loans if they don't align with your politics. These days, they're force-feeding this crap down our throats so much.
No one knows that, by the way.
That you can't even buy Advil without some stupid political messaging. But there is so much diversity and inclusion in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that it is straight up distracting. Look at this. This is from the Cosmo Canyon area that is clearly based on Native American settlements in places like Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico.
Places that famously no black people live in. There are no black people in New Mexico.
Well, instead of seeing reality reflected in the game like all these DEI people claim they want to do, the first person you see in this part of the game is a plus-size black woman who owns a ranch. This is like Native American stolen valor. Then you walk into a small settlement
and you see white people. So you're going to be mad about the white person you see here and here and here, right? You're going to be mad about the white people you see here, right?
And you see like 15 different races in one town. This might make sense in places in the game like Midgar or Junon because those are massive cities, but Cosmo Canyon is in the middle of nowhere. There should pretty much be only one race here, which is what they did in the original game, and you can see they're Native Americans. Even more ridiculous, the Gongaga Forest, which is the area that comes immediately before Cosmo Canyon, is obviously based on Mayan and Aztec culture.
Also, one thing he's not talking about here is the fact that those people that he's showing in Cosmo Canyon, besides her, these people don't live there. You know who do live there? The people dressed like this. Everyone else here is visiting for the live stream. Lesson for the live stream. There's like a whole cult aspect to it.
There should pretty much be only one. Even is obviously based on Mayan and Aztec culture, and also is in an isolated area. So you might expect to see people who look like Mexicans or Native Americans because that's who's indigenous to that area. No,
dumbass, because taking inspiration from something does not necessarily mean that you're taking all historical relevant things from that. If I'm inspired by the myths of King Arthur, that doesn't mean that I have to have only white people there. What it means is that my structure of my story, some of the creatures on you, some of the influences you can trace back to King Arthur. If I send a lady in a lake, if I am a king, and if I have a child who wants to end up killing me, right? I can be like, yeah, that's from Arthurian legends. but I don't have to be white.
area. Nope, there's like 3 times as many black people as there are anyone who looks remotely Latino.
Again, because black people can't be Latino. But like this is where he's coming from. This is where he's coming from. So this person, in no way, shape, or form, he's able to be objective. He has inherent biases that he's proud of.
The case, maybe there's some nuance here. Maybe both parties did something bad at certain points. Usually that's how relationships in particular work. But my mind changed when I began researching, and I think after you guys watching see the details, you'll come to the same conclusion that I did, which is that
So on the all-black King Arthur, there was a black what was it? Denzel did what, like Hamlet or something? He did great in it.
massive failure of the justice system, which is why this video is a defense of Tectone. It's about how, in my opinion, none of the assault allegations were true, and it's about how this whole situation was a coordinated effort from multiple streamers to ruin his career.
Wow, what starting off hot. So the court was in on it. Were the courts part of the streamers? In my opinion, exactly. Someone in my comment section was like, oh, think before you sleep is too smart for you. Okay.
That being said, Tectone or John is a popular Twitch streamer who started out by playing gacha games.
I played Genshin Impact, so you don't have to. So it's Breath of the Wild, but worse, but with waifus. Also, be careful of shit-talking Paimon's English voice acting.
More recently, Tectone is known for calling out how entitled the least talented video game voice actors are, and for helping expose Hassan Piker as an animal abuser. And this is Pink Chew.
Hey officer, you ever realize how hard it is to say?
So what he's doing right here, if you guys aren't picking up on this, is he's glazing, he's building up a contrast between Tectone. He was able to expose what Hassan did, and he was able to call out these entitled English voice actors. And this is Pikachu. She's just an e-thought. She's just this person. As if what Tectone does in reality is in any way different than this. I correct myself. At least she provides a service people actually want.
Rough 2 times in a row?
Rough.
Good boy.
Well, that was cringe. Anyway, Pink Chew, who also goes by her middle name Ashley, is an OnlyFans creator who's achieved success after getting a very noticeable amount of plastic surgery, followed by a generous use of photo editing tools.
Yeah, this is the guy who's objective, you guys. This is the man who doesn't have... How is this 53 minutes? How is this 50? Let's just get to the part where he actually maybe goes over the court case. There's no way I can watch all this. It's not only is it boring, it's predictable. Right? Like
Criminal case. Had it been a criminal case and had he been given a bench trial, he would have gone to prison as a rapist right then.
God, these idiots are annoying. For those of you who don't know, Mike from PA is the guy who pretended to be a licensed attorney to run for the Pennsylvania legislature, but the state Supreme Court kicked him off the ballot after they found him misrepresenting himself. Now he's pretending to be an authority on the law on Twitch. Spoilers, most of the law influencers get shit wrong all the time, and they aren't really that trustworthy. Anyway,
what does that have to do with anything? So, poisoning the well. Poisoning the 5 pounds. Change my mind to doing some research. If you just read the stuff he shows on screen and Google the judge, you'll see that's another lie. His brain is rot. I'm sure. I don't have to do that though. I don't have to do that because I know how these people operate, right? What he's doing is simply an exaggerated and drawn out version of poisoning the well. He will offer no actual valid criticisms towards his enemies, right? What he will do is just cast aspersions. He'll say, well, guess what? Most law tubers get shit wrong. Okay. So do some YouTubers. You're a YouTuber. So should we listen to you? But they don't think things through.
in reality, there was a police investigation, but it didn't go anywhere, let alone prosecute. So Pink Chew claimed that she would put a pause on pressing criminal charges because she was afraid of Tectone retaliating, which I don't believe because he publicly said he would cooperate with the police.
Oh, well, he said he would publicly do something. Well, there you go. Never mind. Never mind, you guys. No one's ever lied before on the internet. No one's ever, especially Tectone. Tectone's never lied on the internet before. He's as honest as they come. He's never lied. He's never even lied about something as insignificant as his height. He's never lied about anything in his life. No one's ever gone on the internet, made a claim that was erroneous or a complete fabrication. Nope. It's a lie because he posted on Twitter, I would cooperate. Was he one of Tectone's lawyers? Is that why Tectone lost his case? But Your Honor, my client said he didn't do it. Oh shit, damn. I didn't think about that. Like,
And also, if Pink Shoe was actually afraid, she wouldn't have continued to attack Tectone legally. Personally, I think the only reason that
yeah. If I was afraid of my life, I still wouldn't protect myself legally. You're correct. You're so correct. I wouldn't have any sort of documentation to give more credence to the fact this person's dangerous.
protective order was filed is because she wants to attack him, and there's no way in hell that she would have won a criminal case. Now, just so it's less confusing, and because there's no video of this hearing, as we go over the transcript, I'll put pictures on the side of who is talking. That being said, Pink Shoe's lawyer starts her opening statement by blaming Pink Shoe's lack of evidence to corroborate her story on the fact that she's autistic. Pink Shoe's primary argument here is that
on the concern, and the concern is based on his own statements to his streamers. And we have the videos judge that if the protective order goes away, that my client's life will turn to a nightmare again. My client is on the spectrum for autism and suffers from some anxiety disorders. It's a really unfortunate case, and what is difficult about it is because both of these parties earn their living from social media and streaming, that any effect that he puts on social media and then the threats, they get back to her. He knows they get back to her, and he knows that it can affect her business. How does this in any way say that her defense is that she has autism?
as a person who was nearly 30 at the time, she didn't realize that she was being abused until someone else told her, because she's very slightly autistic. What, did they take that argument from TikTok? So
like, he's such a dumbass. He doesn't know how abuse works. Ooh, I want to find, hold on. I want to find the, I'm sorry, I got to find this comment. I got to find this comment because I absolutely got to put this dumbass on blast. You right here. Yeah, he is way smarter than you. You should start with Undead Chronic and work your way up. Can't wait to see the crash and burn. I'm amazed that you can type while bouncing on his dick. Oh, he never came back. But yeah, this person, and I loved it, I will put you on blast, said that think before you sleep. He's smart. He's way smarter than me, you guys. This guy who is just doing the most easiest honestly the most easiest debunkable shit ever. You want to talk about poisoning the well? He casts, like I said before, he's just going to cast aspersions. He's going to misinterpret data you can see on screen, much like Asmongold was doing against Birdman, and should be like, oh yeah, see, she's heard offenses that she's autistic.
on the fact that she's autistic, Pink Shoe's primary argument here is that as a person who was nearly 30 at the time,
As a person who's nearly 30, he's doing that in order to showcase that this person making it that big old age should be able to understand that. What he's not understanding is abuse can come from anybody at any given moment. And if you are treated a certain way over a long period of time, you don't recognize that. There are studies. There is a science behind abuse, how it works, how gaslighting works. Abuse is unfortunately a very insidious thing. That's why sometimes it takes people on the outside. Like, you ever had a conversation with somebody and they tell you something like, hey, that's really weird. I think, what, your parents didn't always like lock your bedroom at night when you went to sleep? They didn't lock your bedroom at night to keep you safe? It's like, no, that didn't happen. You're like, oh my God, you guys, I think my parents were fucking torturing me. Like, yeah, you're 30 years old and you just realized that. It still happened.
she didn't realize that she was being abused until someone else told her, because she's very slightly autistic. What, did they take that argument from TikTok? So anyway, you know, if there's like a mountain of evidence showing that this was all consensual, well, just ignore that because Pink Shoe changed her mind after the breakup and after Tectone got into a relationship with a different woman. What a convenient set of circumstances.
Is there a mountain of evidence you're going to provide in this video?
That being said, let's go to the first allegation
No.
of assault.
You see, so I'm not watching this whole video. There's no point. I'm not going to waste you guys' time for 50 minutes. It's very obvious this person has no ability to do any sort of research of any significance. Think before you sleep. More like, this shit puts me to sleep. Another OnlyFans woman lying about rape and then just moves on. No damage done to them. Ruined a man's life for 3 years. Why is this so common? He says that, again, to cast aspersions. on Pikachu. Oh, Rich Campbell. I decided to dismiss my lawsuit against Rich Campbell. No parent was offered by either of us. I want to thank everyone for their support of the difficult period of time. I wish him well in his future endeavors. Again, dismissing of a case does not equate to exoneration. People don't know anything about the law.
Media, you're going to miss a ton of nuance. It's actually to the point where this court decision is quite scary and possibly a strong violation of the First Amendment. Personally, I think Pikachu has taken advantage of the judge's lack of knowledge of social media and using that to lie. To talk about that, let's go to Exhibit 16, I think. This post from Tectone is...
To talk about Exhibit 16, I think. Did you not do research in your hour-long video?
Still live, so I'll just show the actual tweet. It says, another OnlyFans woman lying about rape, then just moves on. No damage done to them. Ruin a man's life for 3 years. Why is this so common? This is from October 21st of 2025, nearly a year after Tectone was accused, and he's signal boosting a post talking about a friend of his from OTK, who I guess was falsely accused. I don't know that situation too well, but that...
Then do the research. Let's see. Post for read thousands of times. Campbell alleged that she intended to the post to be understood by Campbell, which prompted the Katie hardship. A year later, Lexi maintained the ex that Campbell sexually assaulted her and raped her during January 2022. Dispute between the pair, and June 23rd posted on the Twitter page of Campbell's celebrity girlfriend Mia Malkova that her boyfriend's rapist, the suit stated. Lexi's post read thousands of times. Based on its earnings in 2022, Campbell expected to make about $1.8 million in 2023 through Twitch revenue and contract sponsorship, according to the suit, which further stated that the plaintiff has not been paid a single dollar since Lexi's alleged defamation. So they settled, allegedly. Rich Campbell's Los Angeles Superior Court lawsuit against Zali Lexi also alleged contract interference. On July 31st, his attorney filed court papers with Judge Abinder, notifying the judge of the conditional resolution in the case with expectation a request for dismissal will be filed by September 15th. No terms were revealed. So we simply do not know what happened. Oh, I'm sorry. For reference, Sleep believes autism is not real and was made up by TikTok. No one's that stupid. There's no movement. There's no movement on this. There is a conditional defamation suit. And also, here's something people do not understand. Wait, he actually believes that? I need proof of that. I'm sorry. I don't think it was that stupid. I don't think someone is so stupid they believe that autism was made up. Damn, you just come with all these donations. When I had Tectone Asmongold who backed her and made vids against it back then, they did not get sued and they're fine with him now. So whatever, I guess. Exactly. That's how it always is. But there's no, I don't believe, obviously I'm not a fan of Think Before You Sleep, but I do not believe someone's that stupid where they believe autism comes from TikTok. I can't. I need proof of that. I'm sorry. I just can't. But this guy's like, I'm not familiar with the situation. Then get familiar. You did an hour-long video.
That's what's being talked about. Pikachu says that she believes that the tweet was about her, and then she says that Tectone makes posts like this to try to get his fans to attack her because she does OnlyFans, which is retarded because if you look at the comments on the tweet, you can see that people aren't talking about Pikachu. You can't even find her name by doing a text search on the page. In fact, you can't see this in the court transcript, but since this tweet is still live, we know who Tectone is referring to in this tweet because he's quote tweeted a post talking about Azalea Lexi. So how in the hell is this comment about Pikachu?
Oh my God, you can't be so stupid. Shit, maybe he does believe autism is coming from TikTok. We're going to do something called reading comprehension, okay? Welcome to class, you guys. Welcome to reading comprehension class. Notice how if he was talking about Azali, specifically just her, he wouldn't say another OnlyFans woman lying about rape, but then just moves on. So he's saying in addition to her, there's another one. Now through context clues, right? There would be only one other OnlyFans person that Tectone would be referencing. Okay? If you consistently talked about, let's say me, and then you watch the Birdman video and you're like, oh, another black content creator who thinks he can talk about Asmongold. who else would people be thinking about? Why wouldn't he just say the name then? Why would he just say Azali is a woman, an OnlyFans woman who lies? It's obviously he's talking about Pink Chew. Like, he believes Hans to be so stupid. What is this content creator's name who sounds familiar? It's Think Before You Sleep.
By the way, this is in stark difference to her allegation post, where the top comment essentially is saying, hey, you're talking about Tectone, right?
But how do you know he's talking about Tectone? How do you know she's talking about Tectone here? It doesn't say Tectone. It says it's SA requirement for OTK network recruitment. I hate that people warned me. I didn't listen because I was so manipulated. I hate that I was lied to when another girl who went through worse, was trying to come forward. Me and her are good now, but I should have listened. When you're in it, you feel blind to reason. So how come he can suddenly realize that this was in fact alluding to Tectone, but this isn't
So how
alluding
in the
to
hell
her?
is this comment about Pink Chew?
He literally says, how is this about Pink Chew? And then the next tweet tries to go, but this is different, you see.
By the way, this is in stark difference to her allegation post, where the top comment essentially is saying,
When you have to say things like it's essentially saying, what you're doing is saying that it doesn't exactly say this, but this is the goal. This is the essence. You are proving the contradiction right here. He's obviously talking about Pink Chew, just like she is obviously talking about Tectone. But what they are doing is not directly mentioning each other for obvious reasons.
hey, you're talking about Tectone, right? The irony here is that Pink Chew herself made the argument in court that people wouldn't know who she's talking about because Tectone's name wasn't mentioned in her tweet. But if you know anything about the internet, the minute you start vague posting like this, tons of people in the comments are going to start asking, oh my God, who is she talking about?
This is exactly the same thing. Like, again, this motherfucker thought he was too smart for me. You thought he was too smart for me. You thought, do you have your own videos? No, you don't. You thought that this fucking moron was too smart for me? That's crazy. That's crazy. Just go down to where I actually replied. Yeah, he's way smarter than you. This guy's an idiot. He just, see, what people, I want to talk about communication briefly. Because this is what people do, right? When you get on the internet, you put a video out, right? You know more or less what the audience you are appealing to expects. And your audience, conversely, has expectations of you. So how you choose to communicate is very important, because it doesn't matter what you say. That doesn't really matter, to be honest. Because if it did, a lot of these grifters would not have audiences. What matters is how you say it and how it makes them feel when you say it. Like when we watch the other videos, and you listen to what Asmongold is saying, none of it makes any sense. But he's communicating in the way that his audience likes. That's all that matters. Think Before You Sleep is not some titan of intellect. He's not this bastion of logic. He is a red pill content creator. But because of how he communicates, people are like, no, but he's really smart. Because look, he makes long videos and he's able to make these comments. Ergo, he's right and correct. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Which will prompt all the know-it-alls to try to be the first person to say that it's Tectone. In fact, here's me doing this with the false allegations against Turkey Tom. You can see that I don't mention Tom in the post. People are asking who I'm talking about, and if you scroll through the comments, you can see several people explaining the reference. This is not like a secret behavior that people have. Anytime some sort of inside joke...
He's just explaining the very thing he just claimed he didn't understand, by the way. Like, he's saying here...
boosting a post talking about a friend of his from OTK, who I guess was falsely accused. I don't know that situation too well, but that's what's being talked about. Pink Chew says that she believes that the tweet was about her, and then she says that Tectone makes posts like this to try to get his fans to attack her because she does OnlyFans, which is retarded because if you look at the comments on the tweet, You can see that people aren't talking about Pink Chew. You can't even find her name by doing a text search on the page. In fact, you can't see this in the court transcript, but since this tweet is still live, we know who Tectone is referring to in this tweet because he's quote tweeted a post talking about Azalea Lexi. So how in the hell is this comment about Pink Chew?
He says all of this, right? He says all of that, and then immediately says this.
By the way, this is in stark difference to her allegation post, where the top comment essentially is saying, hey, you're talking
The top comment also doesn't mention Tectone either.
about Tectone, right? The irony here is that Pink Chew herself made the argument in court that people wouldn't know who she's talking about because Tectone's name wasn't mentioned in her.
And then he goes talking about how, yes, they would. But that's the same for Tectone then. Like,
And if you scroll through the comments, you can see several people explaining the reference. This is not like a secret behavior that people have. Anytime some sort of inside joke or a test question is posted on social media, tons of people go to the comments section looking for the person who will explain everything. So in my opinion, Pink Chew left Tectone's name out of this post to prevent a defamation lawsuit, but left in enough clues for people to easily figure out who she was talking about, so her followers would say who it was for her.
just like Tectone did, because it was obvious he's in a, like, it's so obvious.
If she only wanted her friends to know about these allegations like she said in court, she wouldn't have posted it on social media. Anyway, back to Tectone. Here's where it gets scary. Remember that the order of protection was granted, meaning that Tectone is not allowed to talk about Pink Chew. Her evidence that this tweet was about her was purely on the basis of Tectone bringing up OnlyFans, and because she does OnlyFans. She actually makes this argument several times. Here's another one, Exhibit 20. This tweet is also still alive, so I'll just bring it up. He's asking for OnlyFans models to stop giving life advice because you can see them naked for less than a fourth.
Who else would he be talking about, though? If he doesn't talk about OnlyFans models before he dates OnlyFans models, and now he only talks about OnlyFans models in a disparaging way. Gee, I wonder why.
Fortnite battle.
And obviously, her defense wasn't just that one singular tweet. My God.
Pass.
Where's her dignity? Oh, I don't know. I heard she's selling it for $5.
This is another post where if you scroll down, you can see that nobody is talking about Pink Chew, yet she is suggesting that these posts are targeted at her and designed to train Tectone's audience into hating her.
Again, he literally showed you damn near word for word how this operates, but he can only explain that if it's against Pink Chew. If Tectone does it, well, he didn't mention her by name. He just talked about OnlyFans whores. And guess what? She got harassment for it. But it's not because he sent them after her. It's not like he primed his audience to do that. We're going to skip this part because
Since obviously he's only mentioning OnlyFans because Pink Chew does OnlyFans. Why would anybody else talk about that? Except talking about OnlyFans girls is an entire meta of content creation that has existed for years. And
it can't be existed for years. OnlyFans isn't that common. But also, you also have to look at the context. I don't think Fresh and Fit would be talking about Pikachu in that example, right? If I was talking about OnlyFans girls, right? No one would be like, oh, you're talking about Pikachu. Why? Because there's no connection there. There's no logical connection there. However, if I was dating her and then in the middle of a lawsuit, and then you suddenly start hearing me talking about how much OnlyFans girls suck, there's a clear reason why I'm talking about it now. It's like when guys get divorced and suddenly all women are bitches. It's like when girls break up with men, all men are dogs. And then you see like to the point where we make jokes like, damn, she didn't text you back, or damn, he didn't respond back. Or they'll be like, never mind, he responded. Never mind, she texted back. It's all good. Like, he wants, on one end, he wants to say that the judge doesn't understand internet culture, but on the other end, he wants to pretend that internet culture is this nebulous thing that, oh, I don't know why he's doing it this way. I don't know why he's acting like this. Again, he's not intelligent. He's a red pill content creator. They have the same messaging. OnlyFans creators, bad. Women with agency, bad. Men all the time, good. Unless leftist, then bad. Shitty men, good all the time.
I don't know, maybe it has something to do with people like Morgpie trying to bend Twitch's rules so she can show her boobs to 13-year-olds and try to get them addicted to pornography. Maybe some of these women deserve to be criticized, so citing these posts as threats and possibly suggesting that Tectone can never talk about OnlyFans because of the order of protection, I think is a massive violation of the First Amendment.
That's also not what the fucking order says, you idiot. The protective order is not against them mentioning OnlyFans. The protective order states you are not allowed to have any contact with her in any manner whatsoever. That means no contact through phone calls, emails, mail, text messages, any kind of social media, any kind of communication with her through third parties. All of that is prohibitive. At no point is it saying Tectone can't talk about OnlyFans. The reason that particular tweet was used was because he was very obviously talking specifically about Pikachu, as you so brilliantly showcased when you talked about how this shit works, why there's an implication, how you can vague post and people will figure out who you're talking about. That is why. This isn't a general, you can't talk about OnlyFans. You just can't talk about her. That's it. It has nothing to do with he can't talk about OnlyFans fucking ever. Oh, wait a minute. Just side note. OnlyFans. Imagine shaming a woman and calling her fatherless because they opened an OnlyFans as a means to financially survive during a global pandemic. Your OnlyFans is peak. Your OnlyFans is peak, and then suddenly it becomes Kamala Harris better start OnlyFans. Then it becomes OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. Oh man, I wonder what happened in that time span. Oh God, I love the grifters. They're so fucking easy, man.
Second, in the same way that she cites these posts about OF, she also cites Tectone talking about illegal aliens as a threat towards her, saying, well, I'm half Mexican, so I'm almost a minority, and that means he's victimizing me with these.
Okay, let's read this together, shall we? From the top. They're going to hate what I found today. Your loss is now even more inevitable. Now I wait. Okay. And when you see these messages that he posts like this, how do you interpret them? Like, how does it make you feel? Like he's coming after me. Okay. And let's go to 16. So the same month, October of 2025, so shortly after the protective order was filed, what does Tectone, Mr. Robertson, post yet again about this? Another OnlyFans woman lying about rape, then just moves on. No damage done to them, ruins a man's life for 3 years. Why is this so common? And did you believe that what was also related to you in a way? Yes. Okay. And why did you believe so? What he does is he basically trains his community to hating OnlyFans or women are also migrant and things like that. I'm half Mexican and just things to hate about women and women that have OnlyFans. So when he does attack me, they're more angry towards me. So what they're establishing here is a pattern. She is saying that this is what he does. He does this. And how does think before you sleep interpret this?
These posts. If this Mexican, so I'm almost talking about. Second, in the same way that she cites these posts about OF, she also cites Tectone talking about illegal aliens as a threat towards her, saying, well, I'm half Mexican, so I'm almost a minority, and that means he's victimizing me with these posts.
She didn't say I'm almost a minority, right? Like if you're reading something quoted, you have to read it as is. You can't just add things to it. She didn't say she's almost a minority.
If this type of post counts as talking about Pikachu, then Tectone, as a social media influencer, can't talk about the most pressing issues of the past year because his ex-girlfriend is half Mexican?
Again, that's not what they said, dude.
This is very stupid. She continues, and
it is
I
very
think this
stupid.
is the most ridiculous part, and I think it's where she takes the most advantage of the judge's ignorance of social media.
Okay, let me read this before he gets to it. He's done it to multiple people. And how have you seen him do it with multiple people? Enviosity wasn't one example. He has a lot of, I guess, beef with a lot of people. I can't even count. In his YouTube videos, he names each of his YouTube videos after the person he's going after the videos. And what is your concern with regards to what happens if this protective order is not granted after this hearing today? He is going to continue. He's shown before relentlessly harassing and threatening me to the point where I will probably have to take measures where my life will be in danger. A17. He posts in October of 2021. What does his post? Proud to be blocked women who falsely accuse men are scum and should be in prison. Are you falsely accusing him of these actions? Absolutely not. Okay. Did they in fact take place? Yes. A19. What did Mr. Robertson say? And this was actually before the protective order was filed on June 18th of 2025.
She says that Tectone makes call-out videos on certain influencers. These kinds of videos, by the way, are extremely common on YouTube. I mean, this reads like she's suggesting that YouTube drama should be illegal. She says here that if a protective order isn't granted, then he will continue relentlessly harassing and threatening her to the point where her life will be in danger. This is absolutely ridiculous. Over the past handful of days, Tectone and Miskiff have made like 18 videos on each other. By her logic, you would think that both of them would have been dead 10 times over by now. Keep in mind that...
So what he, again, I'm still upset that someone says this guy's too smart for me. What he is doing is omitting the very real reality that women face at the hands of men versus the kind of shit that men face at the hands of other men. I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I'll say it again. Ethan Klein has intensely and viciously gone after Denims, Krogan, and Caseytron by utilizing his massive wealth, something that they do not have. He is trying to put them in financial situations that are disadvantageous to him or to them. He did not do the same thing to Destiny, who put out a billboard, or who took out a billboard. He said that he was a fucking pedophile. He's done nothing against Destiny. I'm calling him a pedophile. Nothing. So here's what, let's look at this, okay? Apparently, Ethan is still IG storying about me. His and Hila's old Reddit accounts were found literally posting vids from the HD channel where they had less than 1,000 subs. Why she's obsessed with making pedophile jokes and talking shit about being a pedophile? It's just seriously all just projection. Destiny involved Klein's father. Oh, fuck. I see it runs a family too. Oh, God. I'm so sorry, bro. Dad's the one who married and fucked the 16-year-old and birthed Ethan. The guy who makes so many pedo jokes, he has a Reddit account dedicated to them. Out here literally liking thirst traps of his daughter-in-law. Regarding to child sex underpins, Bono said, each one of those pedo symbols represents a different client account I've tweeted about in the past 5 hours. So this is what's happening. This is what Destiny gets to do to Ethan. Destiny, quick daily reminder that Ethan from HGH is likely a pedophile who has molested his own children. Hear that in January, right? And here we go, right here. The fact that Ethan Klein has sued multiple women for criticizing his support for genocide, but he won't do anything about this, is just further proves that he's a coward who loves Israel more than he loves his own children. But again, he's done nothing to Destiny. Destiny's not currently being sued by Ethan Klein. You know who was being sued by Ethan Klein? Caseytron, a subscriber, a Twitch streamer with far less money and subscribers and influence than Ethan. Far less. Magnitudes less. Krogan, less than him. Denims, less than him. Because these are men who go after women. They don't have the balls to go after men. So this ties in back to here, because when he says shit like this,
granted, then he will continue relentlessly harassing and threatening the passage. You would think that both Tectone and Miskiff have made like 18 videos on each other. By her logic, you would think that both of them would have been dead 10 times over by now.
Because that's not how it works, dude. And you know that. You know that for women, it's a different ball game. They can make 1 billion videos on men and no one's going to do anything because it's just people going at it. But there's a natural misogyny we have in our society, especially if you're a sex worker, that people treat you way worse. They will, in fact, harm them. I'm not a fan of, what's her name, Amaranth, but Amaranth had a stalker. Had a stalker that broke into her home, that flew to LA while she was at TwitchCon to see her. That was harassing her. Like, they deal with that shit on a day-to-day basis. Regular women get murdered by ex-boyfriends all the time. All the time. All the fucking time. Okay? So it's insane to be like, oh, but if they talked about men, it'd be the same thing. No, it's not. That's completely dishonest.
Keep in mind that between the breakup in July and the time that Pink Chu made her allegations on November 20th, 2024, I can't find a single instance where Pink Chu's name is mentioned by Tectone, and she certainly doesn't provide any mentions outside of his post on November 22nd.
Wait, what?
By Tectone. Keep in mind that between the breakup in July and the time that Pink Chu made her allegations on November 20th, 2024, I can't find a single instance where Pink Chu's name is mentioned by Tectone, and she certainly doesn't provide any mentions outside of his post on November 22nd. And keep the context here in mind. Tectone and Pink Chu break up. Tectone is silent about Pink Chu until she accuses him of assault. Then Tectone makes a post saying, "I'm going to sue you if you don't apologize." In this context, he's just defending himself. Like he is being legally punished here for defending himself.
Oh my God, you are so bad at this. You are so bad at this. So your statement here is Tectone didn't say anything. Hey, let's talk about for no reason, let's talk about the Epstein files. So people in the Epstein files didn't say anything. And then the Epstein files came out and now they're talking. Do you need us to explain why no one said anything during the time period until it was brought up in public? Do you not understand that people don't want people looking in their closets, looking at the skeletons, so they wouldn't bring attention to it? Like you don't think that maybe, just maybe, Tectone knows he did those fucked up things. But if he doesn't talk about it in public, then no one knows about it. But if someone were to bring that up in public, the fact someone's not talking about something doesn't mean shit's not happening. That is so dumb. That's like saying, like, I don't understand. I answered questions from the police. I was free to go. And then 3 months later, they arrest me. They didn't tell me they were still looking into me and looking into the deals I made that were illegal. They didn't tell me those things. Therefore, nothing was happening in the background. Like, it's so stupid.
Against allegations that had no corroborating evidence.
I think this is the main reason why Tectone has become so extreme. And whenever you think about it,
I love that he's saying there's no corroborating evidence, and the guy he's using is the man who famously says he doesn't do research.
really calling somebody a rapist is one of like the top 3 things that you can say to somebody that is career destroying, career ending, or
clearly it's not. Clearly it's not. You can even become president.
Damaging.
Right, that's a career-ending allegation, and during the court case, Tectone said that he was dropped from his partnership with OTK almost immediately after Pink Chu's allegations. By the way, if you're thinking she must be the innocent party because she filed for the protective order, note that protective orders get abused actually quite a lot. In fact, if you watched my video on Alexa Nicholas, who was falsely accused of leaking sealed court documents by a good friend of Taylor Lorenz, you would know that she mentioned that she had a stalker who was harassing her and her family. That stalker filed a restraining order against her. So yes, these orders can be weaponized. And speaking of that...
Okay, it can be weaponized. That doesn't mean it was. Like, this is what he does. He just says, well, guess what? This also happens. Okay, but did that happen here? There are miscarryings of judgments all the time, right? There are people who are falsely imprisoned, who are falsely arrested. There are people who are innocent in jail. That happens. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. Does that mean every time someone gets arrested, that's what happens? Does that mean every time someone goes to court, that's what happens? There are doctors who do malpractice. Does that mean every doctor does malpractice every single time? Or is it a case-by-case situation? Like, that's why, like, okay, when people talk about like the police, for example, when we were talking about earlier in the stream, police brutality, stop and frisk, all those things, right? That is endemic to a system. Then you look at these cases and go, hey, was this a factor? Yes or no? No one's saying just across the board, like, well, all bad, all good. But it's like, these are things you have to factor in. Yes, I know protective orders can be abused, but were they abused in this case?
Here's the fun part. I think this was all a coordinated effort against Tectone from multiple streamers. Let's move on to another stupid argument that Pink Chu makes that you would only think is valid.
What does that do anything?
Speaking of that, here's the fun part. She's accused of leaking sealed court documents by a good friend of Taylor Lorenz. You would know that.
So he's saying that for some reason he's bringing up Taylor Lorenz in this case. Well, I know why he's bringing it up, but he's going, okay, sometimes this thing gets abused, but here's the fun part. Here's my conspiracy theory. Like, what?
She mentioned that she had a stalker who was harassing her and her family. That stalker filed a restraining order against her. So yeah, this was all a coordinated effort against Tectone from multiple streamers. Let's move on to another stupid argument that Pink Chu makes that you would only think is valid if you didn't understand social media. On page 144, Pink Chu says,
okay, before he again tries to poison the whale, let's read this. Yes, you heard in that video back in November 21st, 2024, or I'm sorry, November 22nd, 2024, that he said it's a war now. Yes. Do you recall that? Witness nods head. Okay. And what has he done to your life since he made that statement on November 22nd, 2024? He completely destroyed my streaming career. I barely ever stream. I had to completely switch to another platform for content to make money. How did he destroy your streaming career? No one wanted to get named because he would attack them too. And he had already done that to some people. An example is her name is Morgan. People don't want to associate me or with me or collab with me. So I actually ended up having to fly to LA a lot for friends and collaborations to help my career. There was reference to a text message that you sent him asking for a blowjob right before your Austin Oaks day. Do you recall? Yes. All right. Can you explain to the court how that text came to be? So let's see what he spins.
That Tectone destroyed her streaming career when he made his post on November 22nd. Now, personally, I don't know the validity of her claim. She provides no evidence of this outside of saying that's what happened, and she could have just as easily nuked her own Twitch channel to hide evidence that Tectone wasn't actually abusive, since they did a lot of...
Oh, I see. You see again. He just says, I didn't do research about this. So I'm going to just fill in the gaps. She could have done this, though. She could have, it's just tinfoil all the time.
Streams together. But nonetheless, she's suggesting that her online career was over and her life was ruined, which is stupid because her primary income is Fansly and OnlyFans. It's stupid because hating on OnlyFans creators only makes them more popular. Everyone who is good at social media knows that.
That's not true at all. Holy shit. He's saying that's stupid because hating on OnlyFans creator only gets them more popular. No, that's not true. That isn't true. Oh my God. You have to, first off, you have to have a substantial following for that to even be worth it. And secondly, me sending hatred to someone doesn't make them better. It doesn't. Like that's, like, what's the proof of this? Look, what's the proof of that?
That's why OF chicks go on podcasts like Whatever or Fresh and Fit and say dumb stuff. It's to promote their content.
When you got kicked off of Fresh...
That is not the same as this, okay? If they go onto Fresh and Fit, yes, they're going to promote their content, but they're not getting hate from the internet. They are getting hate from the incels they're with in that space, but from the internet, that's not happening. It'd be very different, though, if then Fresh and Fit said, everyone who pays them, I'm going to personally make it very difficult for you to associate with them. That's different. That's completely different. If I was a huge streamer and someone was making fun of me and I say, you know what? Anyone who associates with you, I'm going to send my massive audience towards them so they won't want to associate with you. That is not the same as you coming onto my stream, debating me and making me look dumb. Okay? That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. People didn't watch Smash JT debate Colin Moriarty and then go, yeah, man, 1,000 more people are following him because of it. That's not what happened. People are like, oh, this guy's kind of fucking stupid. Actman debating Andy Pants didn't help Andy Pants at all. Sending a hatred towards people doesn't help them. Again, he's ignoring context all the time.
Fit the first time. How much money did you make, girl, afterwards? Like, how many?
Fresh and Fit, there's no one that does more for OnlyFans women than Fresh and Fit. You have helped sex workers more than anybody, I think, in the world. You have given us the world. Every time I come on your show, my money goes way up. And then he kicked me off, and then he invited me back on. So
the only bad press that you can get for OnlyFans is being unattractive. People don't care about the morality of a porn star. It's actually kind of a problem because you can inadvertently make the thing more popular by criticizing it. So Pink Chew suggesting that her life was over after a single tweet from Tectone, where, keep in mind, he was defending himself against allegations.
And also, you guys keep in mind, she didn't say it was a single tweet. The court document isn't a single tweet. It is showing a pattern because in the civil court, they had to prove a preponderance of evidence, which means essentially the ability is basically, it is oh my God, I can't speak right now. It is the plausibility is things happening more often than not. So 51 to 50, right? This is more likely to have occurred than not to have occurred. So let's say, for example, you can't prove that since this is the picture of a bridge on a train, that I threw someone out of the train into the lake. You can't prove that. But you know that I was in the cart with that person roughly a minute before they fell into the water. You can see that there were handprints on the window that showed that they were resisting. You can see that there was evidence of a scuffle prior to that. You might see me having a ripped shirt, but you can't prove that I actually did that. But given the circumstances, the preponderance of evidence that it's more likely than not that I did do that, you can make okay, right? But you see how I have to mention a bunch of other things to show you my train of thought. It's not just one particular thing. You don't have a smoking gun, right? It is hard to prove in a court of law, in a higher court of law, abuse, right? Because it's a higher bar to clear. But at this level, which is where the civil is, if I show a preponderance, then it's like, okay, it's more likely than not that you did in fact engage in these activities. So again, he's trying to reduce everything to singular tweets. He's trying to disconnect the train of logic to have you look at just one cart and not the whole train. Right? Imagine someone's like, wait, how did you get, wait, 1, 2. Like, how did you get hit by 10 train cars? I only see this one right here. How did you get hit by 10? Because there's 9 other connecting things.
With no corroborating evidence, it's his right to do that. So Pink Chu suggesting that her life was over after that tweet couldn't be further from the truth.
Actually, why is he showing trains and train tracks? What's going on with this? What's the symbolism here?
She's now more popular than ever and has more social media followers than Tectone. Between Instagram.
This means nothing. Does he understand that? Does he understand that? What is this? Instagram and TikTok. Having 2 million followers on TikTok means nothing. Having 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't mean money. This and this could equate to far more financial money than this. And also, they're almost similar, right? She clears him by 1 million here and here, but also, if you guys remember something, she said her streaming career. Notice how he's not using her like Twitch or anything like that. Does she still have a Twitch account? When was the last time she was online? Oh, so I think she deleted her stuff, right? Okay, but still, look at her Twitch account, because she said he killed her streaming. Right? That was the argument. It was her streaming. Destroyed my streaming career. My streaming career. Didn't say he destroyed my online social presence. Didn't say he destroyed my OnlyFans thing. You're saying because she does OnlyFans that this doesn't matter. But that's not what's being discussed. You can't just do that. You can't just be like, well, you still make money other places. That don't matter. If I said this person ruined my YouTube career, but you still have a job in other places, yes. But I'm talking about my YouTube career. I'm not talking about the other jobs I have. I'm not talking about making money other avenues. I'm talking about my YouTube career that you destroyed. I can prove it. You destroyed my YouTube career. What the fuck does it matter that I have more followers on different social platforms?
Evidence, it's his right to do that. So Pink Chu suggesting that her life was over after that tweet couldn't be
That's not what she said.
Further from the truth. She's now more popular than ever and has more social media followers than Tectone.
That's why he had to not only say social media followers, but also show different accounts. This is YouTube. This is Twitch. This is Instagram. This is TikTok. These are not the same sort of fucking platforms. Getting 1 million views on TikTok is not the same as getting 1 million on YouTube. Hell, having 1 million followers on YouTube is way harder than getting 2 million on Instagram or TikTok. These are passive. I scroll through. Oh, I liked it. Okay. Hey, she's a hot girl. I'm going to just follow her. This doesn't mean that she's going to then equate to people even going to her OnlyFans account. This doesn't even mean that people are going to watch her play Twitch games. Does Pikachu have a YouTube account? Pikachu has 118,000 subscribers on YouTube. Tectone has 1 million. This is why he's not using like for like.
Between Instagram and TikTok. In fact, don't take my word for it. Take it from Mujin, who said on Twitter, "Let it be known that from this point onward, anyone still caught defending Tectone is purposefully ignoring facts for what is most likely a desperate and pathetic attempt at gaining favor or clout." I mean, maybe, though I'm not sure what facts he was talking about. Note that he said this before the transcript was made available, so real smart of him to not wait until the evidence was public. However, you can see that he is very much on Pikachu's side, and more importantly, you can see him stating here that she makes significantly more money than Tectone. Weird, because a statement like that makes her look like she's the one who actually has more power.
That's not at all. First off, I'm pretty confident. I could be wrong here. This didn't come out before.
Desperate and pathetic attempt at defending a follower from Mujin, who said on
cutting all ties with Tectone. I've known about everything even before it was a lawsuit. This is just him saying he knew before. This didn't come out before the. Okay, so now we're gonna see if this guy's lying or not. Weird how he doesn't show the thing right here, in which this shows this was after the case. So again, liar. Right? Like he's saying he wrote this before the court findings. He couldn't have. He couldn't have because it was updated 28th. Tectone update 20th. Official protective order was filed in Travis County today, the 28th, January 28th, 2025. This post from Mujin, 2029. You can see it right here. 2029, 2026 at 12:41 a.m. But notice how, right here, right? Notice how he cuts it off. Interesting.
On Twitter, let it be known that from this point onward, anyone still caught over after the followers at Mujin, who said on Twitter, "Let it be known that from this point onward, anyone still caught defending Tectone is purposefully ignoring facts for what is most likely a desperate and pathetic attempt at gaining favor or clout." I mean, maybe, though I'm not sure what facts he was talking about. Note that he said this before the transcript was made available.
That's not, no. Also, I'm pretty sure the transcript was made available like relatively quickly after that, right? Like this is the protective order at the very least. And okay, let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's say the transcript was available after this fact. What does that matter? He lost. He lost. You wouldn't, first off, yeah, you're right. You wouldn't need the transcript to understand that he lost. There's a protective order saying that he lost. He has to pay the fines. He can't own guns for 10 years. Like this is he lost. You don't need a transcript. What would the transcript show? He lost. If I told you, hey, here's the box score for this game. This team lost. Unless you want to see how they lost, you know the outcome. It doesn't matter. You know the outcome. So like, why even bring this point up?
So real smart of him to not wait until the evidence was public. However, you can see that he is very much on.
Also, if you want to make his point stronger here, I know why I'm helping you. Get rid of the beginning part. You say, this is what Mujin said, and you can read here, but I want to focus on this part. That way, people can focus on this element because you want them to focus on the fact that he makes more money than him. You've diluted your point.
On Pikachu's side, and more importantly, you can see him stating here that she makes significantly more money than Tectone. Weird, because a statement like that makes her look like she's the one who actually has more power, and thus makes her look like the aggressor. but
Also doesn't, because this question isn't about financial superiority. This was a question of him fucking up my streaming career, which he did.
here's the part where things get interesting. Again, you would have to understand social media to recognize this stuff. On this page, page 144, Pink Chew mentions a girl named Morgan, and then she says that she went to Los Angeles to do collabs. I think it was a mistake to say this because Morgan is almost certainly Morgpie, a person who Pink Chew has done numerous collabs with.
Not me. That's funny because I picked that card in a different group and it was me. But I'm gonna pick one.
Again, she's done a number of collabs with Morgpie, like this one here at the gym. God, she must edit her photos a lot. I'm not even looking at the same person when she's on
Okay, unnecessary comment, but do you know how makeup works?
video and in a place where she can't cake on makeup. Anyway, there's tons of video evidence of them interacting with each other and tons of tweets and stuff, so this person, Morgan, is almost certainly Morgpie. Why
Okay,
is that
what's the point?
interesting? Well, it's interesting because one of the things that Morgpie is famous for is helping signal boost false allegations against the YouTubers who run a channel called Super Mega. Turkey Tom made a huge video on it.
That's not what she's known for. What the fuck? That's not what she's known for.
Super Mega is a comedy gaming channel with almost 1 million subscribers, run by Matt Watson and Ryan McGee. Over the past 2 years, the channel has found itself mired in endless controversy. However, none would prove as devastating as those levied in July of 2023. That month, a cosplayer named Lex accused Super Mega's channel artist, Don, of SA.
Okay.
Accusations to, and if for spread, these fall their other friends to.
This was quite the Turkey Tom video. It's kind of like an epic Matt. Matt didn't want to pursue a relationship, but they hooked up twice, and then I think Matt chose a different girl over her.
Honestly, I cried for months over that guy. I was like, give me one of your shirts. You know what I mean? So I posted a picture of me wearing the shirt I took of his onto my personal Twitter, not like my big one, but my other one. And he texted me after ghosting me, after I asked him if he wanted to hang out again that night. He didn't respond to me asking if he wanted to hang out again. He responded with a screenshot of the post and was like, hey, can you take this down? Like, people have seen me in that shirt, like they know that shirt. Can you just take down this post?
Did you hear the part where she said she made the post on a second account? Kind of like similar to what Pink Chew did. What an odd coincidence. To quickly...
A bunch of people have alt accounts. This proved nothing. This proved nothing.
Sum things up. Morgpie became friends with a disgruntled ex-Super Mega employee named Leighton, whose goal was to do whatever he could to ruin their career. Morgpie's purpose was to basically signal boost and give validity to all of the provably false things that Leighton was saying about Super Mega. During this time, she also doxes the ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend of one of the owners, and it seems like the doxing was intentional to get back at him for picking another girl over her. Again, these are very familiar circumstances.
This is the most brain-rotted fan fiction shit I've seen. I let him speak uninterrupted. Nothing. This amounts to someone posted on an alt account. Someone who has a social media presence having an alt account is so fucking. See, he says you have to understand social media, and then he tries to make the idea of having an alt account this insidious things. People have alt accounts because they want to be able to post dumb shit or maybe bad shit or whatever without their main audience getting hold of it. That's fucking normal. That's a normal thing to do. She posted a thirst trap with the intention of getting Matt's attention. Matt said, hey, can you take this down because people have seen me in this shirt? Okay. This equates to her having a conspiracy theory against just in the way he said she's known for going against big YouTubers, like this one specific example where she put on a shirt.
So I was just talking about personal details being unnecessarily mentioned and weaponized to make me look worse, and unfortunately more people have jumped on that bandwagon. One of those people being Morgan, aka Morgpie. Morgan not only brought my current girlfriend into the situation on stream without her consent, she also name dropped my girlfriend and revealed that we were in a relationship, which was not public information. I'm very private about my relationships, so this was a big blow. Morgan also brought my ex-girlfriend into the picture without her consent and has strongly hurt her because of this. She lied about conversations with my ex-girlfriend. She wrongly stated that I had been having a multiple-month affair with my current girlfriend while I was dating my ex-girlfriend. She also lied about not knowing who my current girlfriend was. because she did know who that was and she used it as a segue to name drop her. She also falsely claimed that I was cheating on my current girlfriend, which is not true.
Yes, this is obviously trying to be like a, well, you can't trust Pikachu now because she's collab with Morgan. That's where this is going. If this is true that Morgan did this shit, then that's fucked up. I can admit that. But that has nothing to do with Pikachu. Like, because I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to establish, funny enough, he can't do this with Tectone. But with Pikachu selling, he's like, I'm going to try to use a preponderance of evidence to show that she's a bad person. She collabed with Morgpie. Okay. People collab with people all the time they don't necessarily agree with. I've seen it 100 times. But let's say they're best friends or whatever. What does that have to do with the Tectone shit?
They are both being harassed viciously, unacceptable.
Okay, yeah.
Huge hit, and it really hasn't been the same since. Even after Super Mega was exonerated in the eyes of the public. So if
Wait. Exonerate in the eyes of the public doesn't mean shit.
If you're wondering why people do these tactics and coordinate these ops on Discord and stuff, it's because they work. So where am I going with all this?
Nowhere.
Well, Pinkchu's official story is that she thought her relationship with Tectone was all consensual until after the breakup and after she confided in a friend who told her that actually she was...
So you're saying that the friend was Morgpie based off of what?
...being abused. And yes, this sounds very much like I consented to sex and then changed my mind later. It's like 2015 college feminist behavior.
Jesus
anyway,
Christ,
my
dude.
personal opinion is that the friend who Pinkchu talked to was Morgpie.
Yeah,
Which
obviously.
is why her name randomly slips in the transcript. And I think the actual reason that Pinkchu is doing all of this is because she's mad that Tectone broke up with her, and she's mad that he is with someone else after she clearly was still into him when the relationship ended, based on texts that were shown in court. And what I mean is that on page 113, after the breakup, before she goes into the mental hospital, she's talking about how much she loves him and says,
Yes, and before you went to Austin Oaks, you sent John a serious text message and you guys had a text conversation about your decision to go into Austin Oaks. Is that correct? Yes. And that was what we see on the screen behind us. Is that fair? Yes. Our discussion, yes. And you said, I really need a friend right now. I think I need to get to the mental hospital. My mom doesn't answer. I don't know if the medicine, I'm having a hard time. I need to see a doctor. Figuring it out right now, packing my bags, heading to my mom's. I hope you see this, but I'm going to do the right thing and get a full psyche evaluation and get some real help. I love you so much. I'm sorry if I ever hurt you, and I can't wait to come back feeling better. I love you. Is that your yes? And did John direct you to write any of that? No, not that. Okay. Just the other part about oral sex that evening. What is your point trying to make here?
Hurt you.
Yes, you're reading it. Yeah.
A regular no, wait, I swear I'll change. Tired of putting up with it, so her going to the that she was having a lot of times, particularly this part, had some real help. So I've read certain parts of this transcript a lot of times, particularly this part, and here it sounds like the actual story is that she was having regular psychological breakdowns. He got tired of putting up with it, so her going to the mental hospital was like, no, wait, I swear I'll change. I would also guess that she was threatening self-harm if he broke up with her, which is why
I love how he's saying that I bet you she also threatened self-harm to break up with her. Again, you are reading court transcripts. You were just attacking Mugen for not waiting for the court transcripts. You have the court transcripts and you are still doing fan fiction.
why she's saying, I'm sorry if I ever hurt you, which again makes her look like the abuser because threatening self-harm is emotional blackmail.
You know what else could it be? I'm sorry if I caused you distress. I'm sorry if my mental health issues have caused you any sort of pain. That doesn't mean I did self-harm. That could be mental anguish, like having to deal with someone who has mental issues. That can be stressful, which is a kind of pain. Like he doesn't.
Honestly, this visit to the mental hospital looks like some sort of bargain to get him back after the breakup. And I think the actual reason that Pinkchu acted out on social media is because she's pissed off that Tectone moved on to somebody else. Based on the information that I've shown, I don't think this is that much of a stretch. Now, pay attention to—
Of course you don't think that's much of a stretch. It's your fucking conspiracy.
Who Pinkchu's friend Morgpie is friends with. Would it shock you if I said that Hassan Piker is a friend of hers?
I was waiting for this.
I don't know how every bad thing on social media—
I also love the fact that he thinks that everyone that's on Hassan's stream is like a personal best friend of his. Like him and Morgpie he's not in her fucking videos every single day. He's not in her Instagram reels. She's not in his Instagram reels. This is just like it's like I'm in LA.
Yeah, always relates back to this social circle, but it seems to be the case. Why is that important? Well,
Not.
Hassan Piker has this ongoing war with Asmongold. Probably because he's mad that Asmon is more famous than him. Hassan likes to sit back and have his little lackeys do all the dirty work for him. This is a famous tactic of
Oh
his, and
my
he
god, I'm ignoring this part. I already know this. I already know this. I already know this. We already know. We already know this. We already know this shit. Denims. Okay, cool. Emery, her and Emery, racist chut. Okay, we know this. 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 Let's go here. There's no point in going over. I promise you, there's no point in going over that point. There's no significant importance there.
said by Miskiff.
Apparently, Miskiff sent like a court. Then he brought Hasanabi saying like how when he shocked his dog. So apparently, he did a right-wing pivot.
I love the fact that he has nothing to say about this case. We're now talking about the aftermath and how this is the defense of Tectone when you're showcasing that Tectone in his very argument was basically admitting that he's a grifter. When a content creator in our space gets these accusations, they have to pivot content to stay relevant. Then he brought up Hasanabi saying like how he shocked his dog. This doesn't help you, big dog.
And he thought that, but Hasanabi bad would work in a court of law. This is why I always say nobody grifts to the left.
Sorry, that last line wasn't super relevant, but it was so stupid that I had to include it. If you read the court transcript, it was actually Pink Chew's lawyer who brings up that Hassan abuses animals, not Tectone. And the reason...
What does that matter? If you treat someone different or assume someone's past is based on their race, that's racist. Yes. Even to white people, is that correct? Yeah. For some reason, internet believes that if you judge someone based on their skin color, it's bad unless you're white. And then it's okay. So I have been talking about that briefly on the internet. Well, maybe a little bit more briefly than at this point. And you refer to Hassan, who was another streamer, as a terrorist supporter and dog abuser, right? She's saying you refer to him as in you refer to him. As in you, Tectone, have said this about Hassan. And you refer to Hassan, who was another streamer, as a terrorist. You refer to Hassan as a terrorist. Like, you fucking dumbass. It's right. This is plain English. This is plain English. This is plain English. It is literally saying, this isn't a positive. To give more detail. And you refer to Hassan, comma, who is another streamer, comma. The main point is you refer to Hassan as a terrorist supporter and dog abuser, correct? She's saying these are the statements you've made. I'm saying these to you so you can confirm whether these are correct or not. And then he goes, yeah, he electrocuted his dog on stream and he says Hezbollah was doing a good thing. And I don't think supporting terrorism is a good thing, nor is abusing your animals. Question: white privilege is a propaganda that real racists have been using to be racist towards whites for things they've never did for decades. You posted that October 27th, 2025. Is that right? That sounds like something I posted. Okay, but the death threats are originated because of my client's post where she didn't name you in November 2024. Is that right? Yeah. You can check the timestamp on the threats if you like. This part here is correct.
The reason it was brought up was because of a retarded counter-argument that Pink Chew's lawyer made about the allegations against Tectone having no effect on how much hate he gets, because he brings up things like Hassan shocking his dog.
That's not what it says, though. Like, people can pause and read the transcripts.
It was such a stupid part of the transcript because Pink Chew's lawyer is arguing that Pink's pretty direct allegations against Tectone on Twitter of one of the most horrific crimes didn't really have an effect on how many threats he gets, because nobody could figure out that she was talking about him, despite numerous people in the comments saying that it was Tectone. But when Tectone says any random thing about OnlyFans, even when he's showing that he's referencing a different person, it's an immediate threat to Pink Chew's life.
He's not, because he's not referencing a different person. Because he says, I don't think Thinky Before You Sleep can read. I don't think he can read. And I don't think he knows what the word reference means, clearly. Once again, he's not referring to Azalea. Because he said another OnlyFans woman lying. Who do you think the another is alluding to? He didn't say random OnlyFans woman lying about rape and then just moves on. He said another. If I said, let's say today Alex Preddy was killed by ICE, and I go, damn, another person murdered by ICE. I'm not referring to Alex Preddy. I'm referring to Renee Good, who was another person. Because if I was being vague posting, someone says another OnlyFans woman, the logical question would be like, well, who's the other one? Another is just a conjugation of, or conjunction of an other, someone else.
So again, I think there's a bigger thing going on here where a bunch of people are collaborating with Pinkchu to try to destroy Tectone, Morgpie being one of them.
Through the lie?
By the way, these people are often stupid, so they leave tons of evidence lying around. Here's Mizkif going on a huge tirade during his Tectone video, where he's basically blowing Hassan and the rest of the LA streamer scene.
You attacked Hassan for months, years now, shitting on Hassan, farming so much hate on the guy, acting like he's a problem. You're farming hate on Hassan Piker all fucking day, Frogan, people that are doing shit. You attacked Pokimane, Cutie Cinderella.
I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that these people are talking, especially considering they live in the same area. I mean,
Mizkif and Morgpie live in Texas. Hassan, Cutie Cinderella, Pokimane live in Los Angeles.
Mizkif flat out admits to talking to Pinkchu, but you know, not out of concern for her well-being, but to point out that she didn't think it was weird when he shook her hand for too long that one time.
Then me and his ex-girlfriend started to talk, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I never ever said that in my fucking life. Why the fuck would I care about that? Like, I did not shake her hand a long time.
You can watch Mizkif for about 60 seconds and easily see that this guy only cares about himself.
I mean, that is the only true thing. That is the only true thing that Think Before You Sleep has said in this entire video. That is the only true thing he has said.
Personally, I think all of this drama farming for him is just to make people not pay attention to his ex-girlfriend Emiru's allegations, saying that he was pretty abusive.
After like all of that
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But now my brain goes, well, wait a minute. Think Before You Sleep. Why does Emiru's case now suddenly have legitimacy? Is it not the same situation as Pinkchu and Tectone? Like, is this not the same situation? It's not. You have a woman who is accusing another person, a streamer from OTK who lives in Texas, of abuse. You have people corroborating, have he said, she said. So why is suddenly this has more validity for you? Why does what she say matters now? Oh, because you don't like Mizkif, which, listen, fair. But you only don't like Mizkif because Mizkif doesn't like Tectone and you're glazing for Tectone. You're not consistent.
stuff happened was when
we know what happened here.
Like
Talk to faction.
Us.
Interesting story. So we have Mizkif talking to Pinkchu. Well, of course he was talking to Pinkchu because he couldn't have known about the court date and where to send his court reporter to take a bunch of factually inaccurate notes. In fact, this idiot friend of Mizkif's who goes by Axion publicly admits to being invited to the court by Pinkchu.
He knows me. I think he tried to get me kicked out or something. I can only assume. That's not for sure.
Also, this is so dumb. He's making his argument so much weaker. You're saying that there's a conspiracy theory to ruin Tectone's life, and you're saying that Pinkchu told Mizkif who to send to the court case. And what happened there? He did a transcript. Tectone's already being sued. He's already in court. What do you mean they're ruining his life? Like, sending someone to do a transcript and then discussing said transcript, that's not, the case is over. It's done. It wasn't an ongoing case. He didn't leak any personal information. It's done. You lost. That doesn't do anything. And this guy could be a piece of shit. I don't know. But that doesn't do anything.
Because the bailiff came over and asked me, "Are you here for her?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah." Did Pig know? I said, "Yeah, she signed me up to be there."
What an idiot to have admitted that. So now we know that Mizkif and Axion's involvement was directly approved by Pinkchu, which is interesting because it seems to be the case that Mizkif has gone on a full-on disinformation campaign against Tectone, where he spreads numerous lies that are easy to disprove if you...
Okay, let's see if they're so easy to disprove. Let's see. Think before you sleep. Disprove them.
Just look at the court transcript. So now I believe this chick even less. If she was being honest, then she wouldn't have to side with people who constantly...
Wait, where was the proof? Did I miss it? Did I blink too hard?
Numerous lies that are easy to disprove if you just look at the court transcript. So now I believe this chick even less.
Oh, so you said that he's putting out disinformation. You're not saying which part was disinformation. And now you're saying that you need to look at the court transcripts, but you have the court transcripts. Why are you not providing any evidence to help your boy? This video is so long and there's nothing of substance
here. If she was being
here.
honest, then she wouldn't have to side with people who constantly make statements of fact that are easy to verify as false. Here's another stupid one that Miskiff said.
And has to pay all of her attorney fees, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not a small price.
Miskiff, if this is how factually accurate you are in reporting a story, then you should go work for CNN. The fees were around $15,000. It's said out loud in the courtroom, so his friend would have heard it. And you think...
So then, okay, here's the thing with this then. So now you have the court transcripts to prove that Miskiff is a liar. He lied about the amount. Okay. All right. But you know who didn't lie? The fucking transcripts. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's like, oh, you're factually incorrect. It was only $15,000. Did he still have to pay the fees? Did he still lose the court case? You need to prove that his interference led to that outcome. You have to prove that Hassan, Morgpie, I guess also Denims, Cutie Cinderella, Misk, you have to prove that all of their connection to Pinky Chew, which is hilarious because none of them were talking about this court case until after it happened. They would allude to him being sued, but they didn't know any details, which is crazy because then if they're all connected, they would know. But anyways, if that was the case, then what you had been seeing is you would have seen videos from not just Miskiff, not just Hassan, but Cutie Cinderella, Denims, Morpie, all those people pushing out content to be like, Tectone's bad, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad. What you are seeing are people like you and Metatron and Nux putting out defensive videos after the fact that actually she's a liar. She lied. The court case was fake. I believe the evidence was wrong. No one cares about your opinions, you dumbass, because the court's opinion was that he was found liable. That's all that matters. This is no longer a question of public opinion. It's already gone to court. You are reading the same transcripts that everyone has access to that say that Tectone lost. The court found him liable of being a sexual assaulter and also that he was a stalker, which is why he lost the ability to own guns for 10 years due to a protective order.
A guy like Miskiff, who has his own allegations of abuse and is saying they aren't true, would be more careful to accurately report information, especially considering that this stuff is so easy to look up. Anyway, Miskiff also graciously...
I also love the fact that he didn't bring up anything for anything major but this bullshit.
Leaked his own DMs, showing that he was talking to Mike from PA, another Hassan orbiter, who went on to repeat other bombastic things about Tectone.
So there you have it, chat. Tectone is a racist. He is a stalker. He's a danger to the community. And
that is what the court's transcripts say.
He should absolutely 100% be permanently banned from Twitch. And can someone explain to me why he's not been
That's his opinion, but it's according to Twitch TOS, he should be banned.
Permanently banned from Twitch?
That is real crazy coming from a guy who was trying to get one of his viewers to assassinate a YouTuber he didn't like. Or was him simping over the $5 a month girl the more egregious offense? And last, as far as I've been able to find...
No context in those things. Thank you for that.
I think Denims is a part of this as well.
I already called this out. I knew who's going to be in Denims.
She was openly saying that it was Tectone being accused of sexual assault before that was public. So personally, in my opinion, I think this whole situation...
That's easy to figure out who you just said earlier on that people, when you vague post, will look in the comments to figure out who you're talking about.
Situation was not because Pink Chew was afraid of Tectone. I think it was a coordinated effort by people who hate Tectone to try to ruin his career. I mean, also, she has no proof that he's abusive outside of her saying he is. And let me elaborate.
He has no proof that she's abusive other than the fact that he could not provide evidence to counter that. Again, people keep bringing up the fact that this is in civil court. I understand, which means there is a lower threshold, which you've heard me talk about. It's a preponderance of evidence. That is the threshold for civil disputes. The possibility that something is more likely to have happened or to have occurred than not. He, even at that lower threshold, could not find anything to counter. It's in the transcript where he barely pulled up tweets to defend himself. He said he had all this evidence. He brought nothing. And they were like, this is all you got? And he was like, yeah, Hassan bad. Like, that was his defense.
On what I'm talking about. When Emiru accused Miskif of being abusive, she brought receipts. She had Discord messages and then like a million schizo texts that he sent her after the breakup.
And then in court, also another thing too is, oh my God, this isn't court. This isn't court. What her lawyers presented to court was enough. It should be damning the fact that she didn't even have to resort to this level of things. But there also were text messages of his abuse towards her. They referenced the text message here. When you talked about her, where is it? When you're talking about her going to the mental hospital, right? Okay, just the other part about the aura sex thing. Yes, they were talking about those text messages. They even were talking about text messages she sent him. So obviously there were receipts here, but you're not showing that. This is from one transcript. Everybody was going to know the truth that he was coming after me, that also there were explicit material that he shared with multiple people and that he will post them online if I don't retract statements. And it's at most 200 pages of it. Something right here. I just like Tectone, but 200 pages seems like an unreasonable number. I'd like to see what they actually consider as struts in this case. These are court documents. This isn't something you can just make up. The lawyer had them. He was an obsessive stalker. That's why he, lost. Yeah, because this is also from the same court document. So that means it's true, right? This is from the same document. But to say that she didn't have any evidence is insane.
Outside of her saying he is. And let me elaborate. She had depleted. As for Tectone, the only time he mentions Pinkchu is after she accuses him of abuse. And what's really going on here is that she made an allegation with no corroboration.
So he's just repeating himself, yeah? He's not making any new statements. Turkey Tom again.
She had a bunch of creepy fetishes, and she was trying to push Tom into behavior that he didn't want to engage.
What the fuck is this about?
4 days after the breakup, she goes on situations happen. I mentioned recently that Turkey Tom was falsely accused by an ex-girlfriend of his in a situation that is strikingly similar to his.
So, irrelevant. Irrelevant.
But in them, it's that
irrelevant.
It's funny because Tom sends texts like the FBI is watching.
The interview about the need.
Irrelevant.
I want
irrelevant
against someone for false allegations unless you sue them for defamation, which is expensive and hard to prove, and it's why people feel safe in falsely accusing somebody. And then asshats like Hassan will boost the false allegations without critical thought or saying where's the evidence.
By the way, one of your OG slop tuber ops, Turkey Tom, also caught a sexual assault allegation where he physically abused 2 of his exes. This didn't even reach your radar because he's laying low. No, it didn't reach my radar because I have so many fucking ops that have done like sexual assault that I don't even know who the fuck this one is. But that's crazy.
There he.
How is that boosting? How is that boosting? How is that boosting? He's literally saying, I don't know who that is, but that's crazy. He obviously doesn't care about Turkey Tom. Why would he be like, give me more details, let me find out about this? Like, what are you talking about?
He is just agreeing with and validating the allegation with no put.
He said that's crazy. He got asked by a chatter and he said, I don't even know who this person is. I don't keep up. I have so many haters, but that's crazy. What the fuck? That's not him boosting it.
Pushback despite knowing nothing about it. Luckily, Tom knew the exact way to humiliate his ex for blackmailing him and how to prove his innocence. But for average people, this can be life-destroying, and there's not really much.
This is such a bad video.
This transcript, and I was still shocked to see this. Based on the testimony and the evidence that's been provided to the court does find that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of sexual assault. The court makes the additional finding that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is the victim of stalking and will grant a 10-year protective order.
I like how he's like, I can't believe this is the outcome. You were not at the court case. You obviously did not look at the entire transcript. You didn't read this shit clearly. You're focusing on other parts, ignoring whole other things. You didn't read the parts where your boy Tectone was just like, yeah, I did it. But to be fair, yeah, I did it. But to be fair, a guy like me, I got to pivot.
The court means the judge, by the way. The judge made this decision just to make it
yeah, dumbass. That's how it works in this thing. It's a judge.
Clear that this was not a trial by jury. Some additional things. Tectone has to pay $15,000 in lawyer fees to Pinkchu. He can't go anywhere near her. Who cares about that? He obviously doesn't want to go near her. He has lost his right to own a firearm for 10 years, which is nuts considering she didn't really have any evidence that Tectone was dangerous. And he's not allowed to talk.
She didn't have any evidence that he was dangerous, but the judges said, why not? In Texas? In Harris County, Texas? Come on, man.
Talk about her, which again is also ridiculous, not because he can't say the name Pink Chew for 10 years, but because of the criteria they considered to be a conversation about Pink Chew. As in, if Tectone ever talks about OnlyFans in a negative light, is he liable for criminal charges?
You see how he doesn't even know what the fuck is going on? He says it's not only crazy because he's not only can talk about Pink Chew, but if he mentions OnlyFans negatively, will he get hit up with criminal charges? No, because OnlyFans is not Pink Chew. In that specific example, he was alluding to her. My God.
This is insane. Knowing nothing going in, I don't think any reasonable person would have agreed with the judge here.
He's so
I started
stupid.
researching on who this person is. Judge Dimple Malhotra. If you go to her website, it basically describes her as an activist who started out by working in San Francisco.
It describes her as an activist. It says she spent her first 6 years in career working on domestic violence issues in nonprofit sector. The newspaper and articles and brochures below highlight some of her work, including a group report she started for South Asian women affected by domestic violence. She's about domestic violence. How do you think judges work? How do you think judges work? Judges aren't just like judges are lawyers, right? They have, what's her name? Judge Dimple. 25 year experience working with dynamics of domestic violence, including 6 years nonprofit, over 6 years bench presiding, county court at law number 4, over 13 years of first chair criminal trial experience, leadership experience, compassion, perspective, judge county at law 4. Her judge priorities include ensuring equal protection of the law, protecting the safety of alleged victims in the community while steadfastly guarding rights of defendants, increasing privacy of seeking sexual assault, protective orders. This is her forte. This is why she was there. She was an attorney for domestic violence, so she's going to be a judge that presides over these cases. She wouldn't be a judge presiding over like a white collar crime. Like, this is like getting mad at a white collar crime judge because they were working in the private sector in like Wall Street. It's like, yeah, as an attorney, yes. Or they're working for the DA's office. Like, yeah. She trained over a decade in first chair criminal trial experience, handling a wide range of family violence cases. This is what the jurisdiction it falls under for the fucking case, dude. This wasn't a robbery case. This is violence. Domestic violence, including issuing protective order. Yeah, this makes sense. Like, oh, but she's yeah. Okay, she's an activist. So what? She's an activist for nonprofits in California, Texas. She helps survivors. She's a survivors and victims advocate. Yes. Okay. So now she's a judge. That's why you go to her. This is stupid. She knows the law in this area because she has experience in this. This is no different if I was an attorney for immigration and then I became a judge that presided over immigration hearings because I have background for this. Like, what the fuck else? What is this proving here? That she has the relevant experience to be the one to decide in this case? She could decide if this is domestic violence or if this is not domestic violence because she knows the criteria.
California. Remember how I said that Austin is the California of Texas? Also this.
It is so incredibly important that we celebrate and embrace diversity. And I think it's just so important even for this courtroom, when people walk into this courtroom and they're from different ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, socioeconomic statuses, to be able to walk in and see someone who looks like me, I think provides a certain level of comfort to them.
An immigrant who grew up in the U.S. with a family environment deeply rooted in Indian culture.
This is irrelevant. This is just him being racist. This is irrelevant. This is trying to say the judge had some sort of bias. That's it.
For me, being an immigrant,
Arguments made by Pink Chew's lawyer that didn't really make sense to me. I mean the ones where she brings up Tectone talking about anti-white racism. What does that have to do with this case?
Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it doesn't have to do with this case. You fucking idiot. Like, oh my God. And you know what they most likely are establishing in this case? The fact that Tectone is a grifter and should not be trusted. So you, who is blindly trusting his statements, are the exact reason why they're establishing a pattern of character. This man is saying that these lies aren't true. But, Your Honor, I'm here to establish that the statements that he makes not only aligns rhetorically with the fear my client has, because here he is espousing white supremacist ideologies and violence against sex workers and violence against immigrants by way of endorsing the illegal operations that ICE is conducting, by way of attacking OnlyFans creators and conditioning his audience to do that. His same audience that he spouses white supremacist tactics to. She's probably establishing a character.
Where she brings up Tectone talking about anti-white racism. What does that have to do with this case? What does it have to do with Pink Chew? Why did Pink Chew bring up that she's half Mexican?
You know why she brought that up. It says it here. Why does he get basically trains the community into hating OnlyFans or women or also migrants like that? Migrants. He hates migrants, and she's half Mexican. Guess who are the majority of the migrant population? You idiot. It's in the court transcripts. Are you illiterate?
Why are they making arguments that are irrelevant and would clearly make a judge who ran as a Democrat think that Tectone is a racist? Keep in mind that this court case is occurring on January 23rd of 2026, which is during a bunch of anti-ICE riots and after Renee Good died.
That has nothing to do with the... Now you're bringing in irrelevant things. That has nothing to do with the court case. What does Renee Good being murdered by ICE have to do with this case? The reason why they are bringing up his post on Twitter, most likely, even though I also can't say it's 100% true, but most likely, is to establish character. If you were trying to say that the words that I are saying about you can lead to harm, and the judges like, or the lawyers like, TTB and Gaming, didn't you say that all white people smell bad and should be thrown in baths and should be forcibly excised? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like something I said. And then didn't you also say that women are bad and stupid and smell bad and are ugly? Yeah, I said that. My defendant, a white woman, fears for her life. Why would she fear for her life from you? Is it because you've been espousing rhetoric that would directly attack her identity as both white and a woman? Two groups you have openly disparaged, and you have access to her? Do you think that might be why? Pink Chew's half Mexican. Half white, half Mexican. Tectone is saying he don't like migrants. That's why she mentioned that. He trains his groups, he trains his community to attack OnlyFans models. Guess who's the OnlyFans model? Pink Chew. And migrants. Guess who's a migrant? Pink Chew. Dumbass. You espouse anti-fucking immigration rhetoric and the anti-migrant rhetoric to your half Mexican girlfriend, to your white supremacist audience that you've been intentionally courting. You don't see how that's relevant? This isn't relevant. While the court case was going on, they weren't fitting a live stream to fucking Renee Good being murdered.
These are very politically polarized things to bring up that I think aren't relevant to Tectone's case.
They didn't bring this up.
I'm guessing that maybe Pink Chew's lawyer did some research on the judge, and maybe this is why Judge Malhotra didn't notice things like Pink Chew's lawyer victim blaming Tectone for his abuse as a child.
What you're also going to hear about this case, Your Honor, is that they had never actually engaged in sexual intercourse. It was only ever he received blowjobs, and there was never any reciprocation on to my client. In addition, there was never any really kissing. He would want to spit in her mouth, but she refused. And so you're going to hear a lot about, and I think what you will hear, Judge, is that my client, and the evidence will show that my client has been raped before, a pretty ugly rape in her early 20s, and knew what that was. Didn't understand it until she got out of the relationship, how bad it was. And then what you will see, Judge, is that he used his platform. This has nothing to do with Tectone.
In her opening statements, something that was immediately noticeable to me.
Okay, yes. When you broke up the first time, yes. I want to clarify something. There were 3 times. Once I believe Pink has forgotten about. There was one where Pink wanted me to try to have sex, and I swore to her that I would try. and I did. It just didn't work. I was too afraid of committing vaginal sex. It's nothing to take lightly. I'm not a guy that sleeps around, and it's, what if I get pregnant? And also, I'm not gonna lie. The unfortunate reality is that I did have a fear of vaginas. It's still hard for me to look at vaginas. I'm a straight man, but something about them just scares me. And so, when I lost my virginity, I had to even close my eyes just to kind of like go through the motions. Sorry, am I rambling? What was the exact question? So the first time you broke up, yeah, okay, sorry, okay, yeah, that was the one time where she didn't get.
I mean, this statement right here very much makes it seem like Pink Chu was trying to use shame to force.
What are you talking about? What? Did I not read this correctly? At no point was there victim blaming.
And maybe this is why Judge Malhotra didn't notice things like Pink Chu's lawyer victim blaming Tectone for his abuse as a child.
Doesn't say that here. We read this part. This is talking about Pink Chu. It literally says right here. And so you're going to hear a lot about, and I think what you'll hear, Judge, is that my client, her client being Pink Chu, and the evidence will show that my client had been raped before, a pretty ugly rape in her early 20s, and knew what that was. This has nothing to do with Tectone.
In her opening statements, something that was immediately noticed.
This is him adding this. When he was in 3rd grade, Tectone's sister tried to infect him with parasite crabs. I think it's abusive bullying behavior to blame him for this, particularly when the first argument that Michelle Locke makes when she starts to cross-examine. No wonder she's divorced. Nothing about this is happening here. Nothing he says here is happening here. What's happening here in the court case is Tectone saying, yeah, Pink wanted to have vaginal sex, but we never did. Tectone himself doesn't even bring up the trauma. You think before you sleep, bring up the trauma. No one else brought this aspect up.
To me. I mean, this statement right here very much makes it seem like Pink Chu was trying to use shame to force Tectone into sex.
Question, is that fair? Yes. Did you defend your innocence? Of course. And did you absolutely make statements online that the truth would come out? Absolutely, of course. Okay, did you ever threaten Pink with any kind of physical violence? No, of course not. Mr. Prior, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor. The court, all right, Miss Locke. So this is cross-examination, right? That was his lawyer, now it's her lawyer. Mr. Robertson, did you ever engage in vaginal intercourse with my client? No, ma'am. Okay. And did you ever engage in did you perform any oral sex with my clients? No, ma'am. Okay. And in fact, the only one that received any kind of sexual gratification was you from her. Is that correct? What does this is nothing to do with this.
Acts that he was uncomfortable with because of his childhood trauma.
Which they never talked about.
Wouldn't it be ironic if that were the case?
Because you spent your career doing domestic violence cases and you have a background, some might think that it would be hard for you to be impartial as the judge.
Right.
So how do you maintain your impartiality?
As a prosecutor, I took an oath to seek justice, not conviction. And so people have to remember that and that not to say that there aren't prosecutors in the world who are doing the wrong thing. Unfortunately, with every profession, you have people who really shouldn't be in that profession, who are there for the wrong reason. I took an oath as a judge to be fair and impartial. And that is also incredibly important. People walking into your courtroom deserve your impartiality and to listen to their side of the story.
That was hard to listen to considering her.
How does that, why would you put that in your video? Why would you, that makes her look good. That makes her look good. That's not a negative on her. Why would you put that in your video?
Her decision on Tectone's case. How do you stay impartial? That's easy. The answer is she doesn't. Now, this does seem like a random question to ask. So why was it brought up? Well, the answer to that, I think, is a much bigger issue than the diversity stuff from earlier. The answer, I think, is a massive conflict of interest. I believe she was asked that question because a few years prior to this interview, there was an article written on her about how a lawyer got her taken off his case because of her domestic violence activism. Now, I think that trying to stop domestic violence is great. However, I also agree with the defense attorney, Steve Brand, who says that her activism makes her biased towards alleged victims, and there's no way he could win a case with her as a judge. He also kind of recommends that every defense lawyer should be filing a motion to remove her from their case. And personally, after reading the transcript of Tectone's hearing, I agree. And in my lawyer opinion, with 2020 hindsight, Tectone's lawyer should have gotten Judge Dimple removed and gone with somebody else. I'm curious how many other people like Tectone she's done this to, or the...
Wait, hold on. Let's do some research real quick. Court removes Travis County Judge from case over social media support of survivors. This is court removed Travis County domestic violence judge. Okay. Let's actually read this. The judge presiding from Travis County Domestic Violence Court was forcibly recused from a case this week over her expression of support to domestic violence survivors. It's a single decision, but the precedent set by the state court ruling can make it more difficult for Judge Dimple Martha to do her job. Malhotra handily won the runoff of the county. The state court decision stems from a motion filed in July by Austin defense attorney Steve Brand, who cited media bias against domestic violence. Brand, who was on the board Austin Defense Bar, is representing a man whose partner sought protective order. He argued his client couldn't reasonably expect a fair outcome and that because he had no right to this trial, it was likely that Malhotra would rule against it. Okay. According to the filing, Cosby praised Malhotra for her work in the video, suggesting she was truly advocating for victims of domestic violence. Brand said Malhotra's lifelong drive in domestic violence was no, but that she shouldn't be deciding for the order. Her commitment to ending domestic violence may possibly and still enable her to exercise the discretion necessary to prosecute these kinds of cases, he argued. But it, along with her numerous comments, should absolutely disqualify her from being the neutral and detached magistrate charged with being the final arbiter of the facts and laws in a protective order hearing. State District Judge Dan Mills on Monday granted Brand's request and moved Malhotra from the case. It can now be heard by another civil court or visiting judge. The ruling opens the door to other defense lawyers. Matt McKenzie called the ruling political bullshit, suggesting to cut that motions questioning her partiality was filed only after she won the primary runoff, not ahead of the primary. Ooh, so we don't want to mention this part? That this happened as a response to her possibly winning? I'm now curious about this court case. I'm going to see Steve Brand, court case 2020. Oh, this is nothing with Steve. Wait. Ooh. District Attorney Rosemary Lemberg fired prosecutor Steve Brand, who loosely compared Joe's membership to the NAACP and what he perceived as her activism to a white supremacist group. Wait a minute. Brand removed Jura from the panel, but the judge really ruled that removal was improper because it was based solely on race. So wait a minute. Can I put on my tinfoil hat now for a second? Since Think Before You Sleep's been doing this whole video. So Steve Brand from Travis County, gotta be the same guy. He got our girl removed, right? He got her removed. Now she looking kind of dark, don't she? You don't think maybe there's another reason why she got removed? You don't think that? He focused on this part.
Domestic violence is great. However, I also victims and there's filing a I agree. And in my armchair internet,
I like how he just goes that part, ignores the part that this might have had a political reasoning behind it, and also ignores that the guy who was going against her is a racist who got fired from his job for being racist.
Lawyer opinion with 2020 hindsight, Tectone's lawyer should have gotten Judge Dimple removed and gone with somebody else. I'm curious how many other people like Tectone she's done this to, where the accuser has no corroborating evidence mixed in with strong counter evidence against her story.
A lot of people don't know that there's a huge intersection between gun violence and domestic violence.
That's actually true. Also, he's just making shit up. There was no evidence against her because then he would have won.
Did I hear that correctly? Is this why Tectone has to be treated like a felon for something that, after reading the transcript, I don't think he did? It looks like she's on some sort of anti-gun crusade, which is why she took his access to firearms away for a decade. For a decade, when he's a streamer, which puts his life in danger.
Wait, wait. You're trying to, first off, you're trying to state that you don't understand the correlation between domestic violence and gun violence, which is idiotic. But you're also, so that's one. Number two, you're trying to state that why would Tectone lose his guns? He's a streamer, which implies that streamers are non-violent. They just stream on the internet. They have no violence. But then you also say, this puts him in danger. Why does it put him in danger if he's just a streamer?
Has she ever heard of the phrase correlation does not equal causation? What evidence do you have that Tectone's going to crash out and become like a mass shooter or something? Is this why?
The evidence is that the court find him liable of stalking, and that Pikachu was in fear for her life and safety. And there is precedence for victims of domestic assault to be murdered by their abusers. And also, that's not even what happened.
Pikachu's lawyer tried to associate him with white supremacy. Is it also why Pikachu's lawyer immorally, in my opinion, pretended to be a medical expert on schizophrenia?
What? Are you aware that the consequences of untreated schizophrenia? No. Okay. Are you aware that being untreated can lead to worsening psychosis, including hallucination, delusions? I'm not sure. I'm sure in more severe cases, schizophrenics could absolutely do that. Well, but tell me this. Are you a licensed medical professional? Neither are you. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. If I say, hey, let's say you have a gunshot wound and you for some reason aren't treating it. And I go, hey man, you know that wound can get infected. You know that wound can be infected. And you go like, well, maybe a more severe gunshot wound. I don't need to be a fucking doctor to know that a wound can get infected. I have enough common knowledge to know how bacterial infections work. Any exposed wound risks infection. I don't have to be a medical professional to know what the side effects of schizophrenia are. I need to be a professional to recognize the signs of it, to diagnose it, right? But I don't need to be a medical professional. Do I need to be a medical professional to know that a man is bleeding out from a gunshot wound? No. I need to be professional in order to possibly even stop the wound, maybe. I definitely need to be a professional to operate on that person. I don't need to be a fucking professional. If someone was drowning and you knew how to swim, you don't gotta be a professional lifeguard to try to save them. God damn, dude.
To frame Tectone as an unmedicated psycho who could break any time. By the way, Tectone got re-diagnosed and he doesn't have schizophrenia.
I went to a psychiatrist yesterday. Guys, I'm not schizophrenic. The psychiatrist believes the reason why I see things that aren't there, mainly, well, at night, is due to the fact that I got stabbed in my left eye and my right eye is normal. And so they believe that my eyeballs are causing me to temporarily hallucinate things that aren't there because they're not signaling my brain properly. And what they believe that I have is anxiety with bad vision, as well as unresolved childhood trauma. And so I was going to actually try to get medicated. They said I do not require medication.
You have to read the transcript to get to the level of fuck these people that I'm at. Basically what's happened here is that to a judge...
I like how he just takes everything Tectone says at value, even though he's proven to be a liar. In court, under oath, he's admitted he's a grifter. That does nothing to deter his support for Tectone. Because he said it. Just like he put out a tweet and said he's innocent, so therefore he's innocent. But mountains of evidence against him from a character standpoint, from the fact that, again, he could not counter any of her evidence, is a conspiracy theory.
Who appears to be in favor of DEI and appears to be anti-gun, Pikachu's lawyer framed Tectone as a violent, unmedicated, schizophrenic neo-Nazi. Tectone is also bald, so he might as well be seen as a skinhead, too. No wonder this trial ended the way it did.
Yeah, dude, that's right. You were totally right, dude. You're so smart. You're so smart. Think before you sleep. And I'm sure your audience is super smart, too. I'm sure your audience is so smart. Oh, yeah, geniuses in here. Geniuses in here. So, quick search into this judge shows she has been recused from a previous case for bias against suspects. Funny. Ooh, do you have the evidence of that? Legal Mindset brought that up. Ah, yes. Bro, Tectone said in no uncertain terms that he was unmedicated and would only see Pink's face smoking sometimes. What the fuck do you want the judge to say, bro? That's insane. Exactly. Tectone should appeal this. He won't. He won't appeal this. He won't appeal this. You want to know why he won't appeal this? Because it's a criminal. It's not a criminal case. There's nothing to appeal. This is the guy, 1 million subscribers of just complete morons. Why no one wants to date trans women. How left became violent. How the West is being destroyed. Japan's biggest liar. Welfare. Like, this is not the content of a person to be taken seriously at all. He's fucking stupid. Is it this easy? Legitimately, is it this easy to just, oh my God, like Red Pill guys are so fucking stupid and they're so easy. This is why they do this shit, because it gets millions of views. It's easy. It's so easy. It's the easiest content in the world to do. It is the easiest content in the fucking world to do. All you have to do is have zero shame and just talk confident that you don't know about. That's it. That's it. That's it. There's nothing about that video besides the fact that he said that, what's his face? Ooh, look, it's like translucent. Besides the fact that he said that Mizkif was doing this shit to cover his own ass, there was nothing factual in that video. I love how he pretended to start the video with, I went into this with an open mind. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Oh my God, dude. I think that did it. Like, I think that did it for me. I think I've been streaming for almost 6 hours. I think I'm gonna end the stream because that did it. That did it for me. Like, just obvious lies from an obvious liar, and people sweeping for Tectone. It's like you're sweeping for a person who couldn't even defend himself in a silver case. Like I mentioned before, communication is important, obviously, but it is the method in which people communicate that has more importance in our online spaces. Like you saw in that Think Before You Sleep video, what he was communicating to regular people was nonsense. There was no logic. He filled in everything with, I mean, to his credit, did say, in my opinion, I believe, but really he's trying to put out conspiracy theory, right? He didn't even attempt to bring any sort of counter evidence, just like, oh, let's do, put on a tinfoil hat. Not an effective communicator to the general public, but effective to the red pill audience who are already keyed up to be non-charitable against women, especially sex workers, and especially if they're against men they believe to have achieved the coveted status of alpha, right? Tectone sees a tall guy and he gets to date hot women and he has money. That's all these guys aspire to be. So you have someone who has reached that level of perfection. How dare he be slighted by these fucking OnlyFans models? How dare they try to take him out? So the way they communicate to that audience is through a series of dog whistles. You heard them in that video, DEI. That's a big one. DEI, feminism, activism. That is a big one. That is what they do. That's how they communicate. They are effective communicators to that audience, but that is the only audience they need to appeal to, because there is a lot of them. There is a lot of red pill guys online. There is a lot of insecure males online. That's why my counter argument isn't to be kind to them. They don't respond to that. My communication is to make fun of the people they appeal to. You want to listen to Think Before You Sleep? Okay, but I'm going to show you that regular people, including the women you want, think he's a dumbass. You want to look up to Tectone? The women you guys try to get who look like Pinky don't like him. They tried him out, the guy you idolize, and then he ended up going to court. They don't like him. In order to snap them out of their red pill shit, it's my belief that you have to have that equal energy, but you don't have to be kind to them. They don't respond to kindness. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't respond to kindness. They need to be shocked out. Shame and ridicule in this regard are effective. They just are. Look at what happened to Andrew Tate. Granted, his stock didn't go down that far, but him losing to that boxer who's like a fucking reality star definitely soured his fucking stock. That's why he had to go to clavicular to recover. He's not seen as this indomitable alpha anymore. That's how he presented himself. He was losing esteem. He was losing power. That's why you get them with the whole so much for the tolerant left. Exactly. Because they were relying on us to be these kind of communicators, using these soft language and like, I'm going to come to you with love. No, dude, you don't respect that. You won't listen to that. You won't listen to a guy who tells you to be yourself because you've been conditioning that's gay and dumb. Okay, this is gay and dumb. You taking advice from shirtless men telling you to give them money and you're watching them on stream shirtless. and you're giving them money, that's gay and dumb. I'll meet you where you are. That's gay and dumb. Oh, you think it's woke to have respect for women? Okay. Women like me, they don't like you. You have 0 bitches. I don't have that problem. Like, that's why you have to reach them. You don't need to be kind to them. They do not listen to kindness. That's not an effective communication tool. They need to be bullied. It's almost like they're subs, you know, like they're subs. They're submissive. That's why they submit to men who they believe are powerful. But my job, well, I guess in this instance, my job is to show them you're submitting to another sub. You like Fresh and Fit. Oh my God, I hate these OnlyFans models. Guess who Fresh and Fit begs to go on their show? They're begging the OnlyFans model. That doesn't do something to your brain chemistry. There's only so much cognitive dissonance a brain can handle before it just snaps, dude. And I'm here to get you to that snapping point. You can only watch Think Before You Sleep videos, Asmongold videos so much before you realize, like, hey, they're just doing a lot of projecting. Hey, they seem to always sweep for these bad people. Exactly. Like, you need advice on how to talk to women. So who do you ask? Men? You ask men who don't even talk to women, who have to pay women to be around them? You have a dom suspect, so you're picking up and down. Okay, good. Exactly. Like, if you have to pay women to be around you, why would I listen to you for advice? How to get women, how to keep a woman. You have to consistently pay for it. I don't. Why would I listen to you? Why would I listen to other men on how to get to women when there are women who are telling you the secrets? You see women online thirsting after Stavros. They're not thirsting after clavicular. They're not. But you men think that they are. And you'll see them around women who are just using them literally for clout, but they're not dating them. And you want to know how I know this? Because I'm aware of shit like this. The victim's ex-girlfriend is now dating the ASU frat leader. One flex leaves her speechless. This is fake, right? But you idiots will believe this. This is fake, though. It's not real. Much like the looks maxing community, right? Which is also a Red Pill offshoot. None of this shit is real. None of this is real. This decent, good physique, right? But this does not get you this. This is not a guarantee. But you're falling for women. You're falling for this shit because you find her attractive. But if she has an OnlyFans, suddenly she's no longer attractive, but you're still attracted to her. Meanwhile, you have people literally thirsting over him. There are women who are legitimately thirsting over Stavros. Stavros does not have a six-pack. He's not going to maug anybody. Okay? But there are women who are into this. Legitimately into this. Hell, you see women who have fantasies about fucking a fish man. Not because the fish man is super ripped and has abs. Not even because of that. It's mostly because of personality things, to be honest. But it is not that difficult. It is not that difficult to get women to talk to you and like you. You have to have a personality. That's why whenever those losers see people who are like not Sigma alphas or whatever, they'll be like, oh, he has to have money. Because they can only think of it as like, what does she see in him? He makes her feel safe. He's funny. He's charming. He recognizes her emotional needs and responds to that. Like, there's so many things that go into it. But because all they think about is muscle, because they are conditioned, again, to look at men and their muscles and think that's the only way you with women, they can't comprehend a world where that's not possible. And that all comes down to how they're being communicated. They are being seen, or sorry, they're being shown by these red pill content creators. I'm buff and muscular. I'm big and strong. I am aggressive. I treat women like shit, and look at me. I have 1 million subs on YouTube. Yes, but also look at you. You were just found guilty in a civil suit of rape, and you cannot own guns for 10 years. That's what that leads to. All that anger and misery that people have, that's real anger and misery. They're just directing it at women. And the women don't want to deal with that. So they leave. And that makes them more resentful. So then you have them make videos about, okay, think before you sleep. You think that's a guy who has healthy relationships? You think that's a guy who has healthy relationships? Of course not. And they project that to their audience because that's what the audience is also going through. But there's no growth. There's no help there. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier when I said, when people were talking about like eugenics, and I said, okay, so what's the outcome then? You you believe these people are inferior due to eugenics. Asmongold thinks that Somalians all have low IQs because that's how they are. Okay, so what's the outcome for that? What's the next result? Are you going to, increase their intelligence? Are you going to help their situation? Oh, no, you just want to call them dumb and be able to call them dumb, be racist. Cool. You're red-pilled. Women only want men for two things, money and status. Great. So what's the outcome now? You're just getting me mad at women. Okay, cool. But then how do I get women? Oh, easy. Just be more mad at them. Go to the gym. And then don't talk to them because talking to women is not alpha. Have them come to you. If they don't come to you, it's because you're not alpha enough. And when you get more alpha, you're going to get these girls, but they're gold diggers. So fuck them. At no point do they talk about maintaining relationships. They talk about how to build a relationship, how to start one. It's go to the gym, get your money up, and profit. They think sex and money, they chase sex and money women. That's it. Things work out as they do in sex and money world. Yeah, like they also believe that women only have one intrinsic value and that men have multiple values. So that every woman who does not respond to the same stimuli, right? Not every woman, it's maybe a shocker to hear, not every woman is animated by money. We live in a very capitalistic society. So yes, we do need money to survive. But not every woman wants to date a guy who has like $1 billion. Not everyone needs a guy who has a Corvette or a six-pack. In fact, more often than not, that's not the case. Your parents, your dad wasn't a fucking Adonis. Hate to break it to you. Statistically speaking, he was not. But your parents still got together. Maybe they're still together. You're here. You're the outcome of that. At one point, your dad rizzed up your mom. But it wasn't because he was following Andrew Tate's fucking 12-step hustler academy bullshit. And at the end of the day, I always say, look at the relationships of the people you're idolizing. Where's Andrew Tate's family? The guy who always talk about you pushing 30. These streamers are pushing 30 and having any kids. Okay, bitch, where's your wife and kids? Where's your home? Where are your little ones running around? Oh, she's an OnlyFans whore. She's never gonna find happiness. And here you are sending your meager wages to a Twitch streamer who's telling you that you're broke. Here you are subbing to Asmongold, who doesn't need your money. But you're calling other men who sub to OnlyFans models simps. But you simped for Asmongold. You simped for Tectone. Like, I like to point out that cognitive dissonance because after a while, it wears on them. Like that Birdman video. After a while, like you realize Asmongold can't actually argue points at all. So he goes directly for personal. Same thing with this think before you sleep guy. He can't stay on topic to save his life. He puts stuff in his video that weakens his argument. But because he knows at the end of the day, his audience doesn't care about that. And we saw the comments. And if you didn't, I'll go back to it briefly. But you see the comments. We watched this video. You see the comments. You see the title of the video, right? The title of the video is also there to get you in a certain mindset, right? What dating in OnlyFans girls is like. That's the title. There's the comments. I never text about you need zero proof to get back to order. Why is OF so normalized? Just remember Amber Heard guy was sitting with Johnny Depp, and it took nearly a decade plus millions of dollars for him to prove to everyone she was malicious. That's not what that proved, by the way. This should happen to me. Tectone should appeal this. And they say the entire world is a patriarchy and females are underprivileged. Dates an OF girl, things go wrong. You think? Who would have guessed that? Imagine my shock. The believe all women line falls so fast when you actually see women in action. At this point, believe no one with the evidence is all we have left. Dating a girl who has ever or has engaged in OF is crazy. As a woman myself, it's amazing how people lose their shit when I say I do not believe all women. Shockingly, women can lie too. Pick me. He's mad. He's guilty is such a disingenuous thing. And yet that was the same shit they were doing to defend him. Least obvious gynocentric court system moment. Like this is his audience, right? Full of morons. But these guys and gals have all been duped. Have all been duped into believing that this video makes any sort of logical sense, that this is a good video. Because they up here isn't activated. You know what's activated? I guess technically like back here their limits. But like basically they're only responding to these things emotionally. Like it's the judge is a foreign woman screwed from the start. Like this is the entirety of his audience. I mean, starting up neutral should be the go-to for any level-head sane person unless it's something extreme public and blatantly obvious. How could she be traumatized by it if she never knew she was being abused? Like, these are the kinds of people who don't fucking think. If Denham's accuses of a crime, there's a 90% chance you're innocent. Like, again, I'm not going to go through every single comp, but you get it. This is their audience. This is how they operate. So again, talking about communication, all they have to do is do the trigger words, the title. This is what happens when you date an OnlyFans girl, right? This wasn't in defensive Tectone. This wasn't the court systems are rigged, because they wouldn't care about that. What they usually care about? OnlyFans models. And you know why? Because they are conditioned, much like the court document said, to have a hatred against OnlyFans models. But also, now I think about it, didn't he also say in this video that sending hatred toward OnlyFans model in a way is a benefit for them? Even though it's not true. So by his logic, calling this what dating an OF girl is like, isn't this basically him supporting OnlyFans girls? Because he's going to send them hatred, and the hatred gets them money. But do you see how their logic doesn't hold up at all? Sean, better known as Think Before You Sleep, or TBYX, is an American far-right political commentator, YouTuber who is known for his political commentary videos on a number of topics including feminism, racism, factors, and health. Yeah, like, obviously he's fucking right-wing. Like, I didn't have to look too hard for that. Promoting sexist far-right content as well as prejudice against everywhere people, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. Timmy stood against Sean, and Sean used Timmy's clips in the video titled "How Feminist Ideas Make Everyone Weak." Timmy said the video message didn't reflect his views and that he believes that gaming community needs to improve the way it treats women. Feud. His Facebook video, he dated Brittany. Okay, so those who don't know Brittany Venti. Brittany Venti. She's far right too. She's the one who just does like fucking like a blackface all the time. Yeah. Oh, it's just blackface. So it's no surprise that Oh, thank you, Meat Hollow. It's no surprise to me that he is how he is. He dated her. She's far right. He dated her. Apparently they broke up, right? And because of that, his content Makes so much more sense to me now. Makes so much more fucking sense to me now. Oh my God. Even the fucking far right pick-me's who are on your ideological team don't like you. Like, that's so fucking funny to me. Sydney Watson. Sydney Watson's also sort of a right winger. Yeah. Oh, this is so funny. This is so fucking funny. This is so funny, dude. There's so many of these people. There's so many people. Like, it's. I'm getting off topic, but like, this is how he dated. He has a degree in kinesiology. Okay. But like, this is him. It's like things make sense after a while, right? Like things make sense after a while. Things make sense after a while. That's him. That's him. Love it. Love it so much. Think before you sleep. He doesn't though. He doesn't think. Now you understand why he speaks about women with such fervor. This is his ex-girlfriend. So now things start to make sense. Now things start to make sense. Now things start to make sense. In February 2024, Sean posted a video of Fat Acceptance cartoon, a critical commentary against YouTuber Elimination's video titled Perks of Being the Fat Kid. Sean heavily criticized her understanding of modern diet and culture while criticizing her fashion choices and saying she can improve her appearance by restyling herself. Some viewers found criticism harsh and extreme. The video received over 1 million views in 3 months and would prompt drama between him and Elimination not long after the video was uploaded. Sorry, Tumblr post, sound cyberbullying. After the month of John, Elimination was doxxed when her home address was leaked by all this offsite, resulting in her being forced to break the terms of her lease after death after allegedly melted her apartment. Sean's commented on the doxing and other videos that followed, and in some of his posts on Twitter and X and YouTube, he expressed grievances for Elimination and hoped she was safe. In the third video released April 1st, he addressed a friend of hers, Dylan, who was supposedly responsible for giving the rundown that which the other Tumblr post calling for his first group taken down for cyberbullying. The YouTuber Noah Samson. That's actually what I first heard of Think Before You Sleep, was Noah Samson. He claimed that Noah Samson was distrustful and didn't do any research, calling him a hypocrite. That's so funny because this motherfucker does zero research. Oh man.